Inside the Magic, show number 483 for July 6th, 2014. It is Sunday, July 6, 2014, and this is show 483 of Inside the Magic. And as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with a really, really big show. It is the Half Year in Review coming up shortly. But before we jump into talking about everything that happened over the last 6 months, I would like to invite you to visit our website at InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, or anything else, you can always write to me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. Momentarily, I will be joined by Paul Berry from Window to the Magic once again to discuss everything exciting that happened over the last 6 months in the world of Disney and theme parks. Before I do that, I do have a few things to mention here. Of course, thanking Magical Travel for continuing to sponsor this podcast. Free dining is back for travel between August 31st and December 23rd, with most dates included. Certain restrictions do apply, so you're going to want to book now for the best availability by calling Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387, or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. And when you do that, be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And on your next Walt Disney World trip, if you or someone that you're with needs a little help getting around in the parks, you're going to want to check out the scooters from Scooter Vacations for enhanced mobility. With 6 models to choose from, you'll find a scooter that meets your needs, including models small enough to fit in a car trunk, or even specialty luxury models for use on boats or buses or monorails. Scooter Vacations is the only scooter company with 24-hour customer service. So if you're listening to this show at 4 in the morning, you could contact them right now for more information or to make a reservation at 1-855-WDW-SCOOT. That's 855-WDW-SCOOT, or find them online at scootorlando.com. Welcome to the first half year in review for 2014. I am Ricky Briganti with Inside the Magic.
And I am Paul Berry from Window to the Magic.
And it's wonderful to talk to you once again for another half year in review. This went over really well last year.
Yeah, it seems to be a popular thing. Is this not our 10th episode?
Well, now that we're splitting it in 2, it could be more.
It could be.
I've lost count.
I think this is the 10th one we've done.
That would probably make sense. It's been 9 years or so for my podcast, and I guess you almost as well.
Yes, at the end of this month, I'll be beginning season 10.
Wow,
yeah.
So, yeah, we should just stop here.
Okay, we're done.
All right, bye, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Okay, no, actually we have, can you believe 2014 is halfway over? I feel like it's January still.
Yeah, with the situation that I've been in recently, yes, I can believe that it's still only June.
It's been an interesting year, a lot of excitement, certainly, in the world of theme parks. We're going to do our usual sort of running through everything fun that happened in the world of Disney, and then depending on how many days it takes to go through all of that, we may throw in a few extra things from some other parks as well.
That sounds like a good time to me.
Well, let's jump all the way back to January then of 2014, of course. Out here at Walt Disney World, the beginning of Avatar, the construction over at Disney's Animal Kingdom of the Avatar project has begun, and Camp Mini Mickey closed.
They began with destruction, did they not?
Yeah. They had to remove everything that was there for Camp Mini Mickey, and then they had that. Did you see the photo, the official groundbreaking photo for Avatar?
I probably saw it on your site, but I don't recall it now.
It was all the execs holding giant blue shovels, and then they superimposed a blue Navi guy in there as well.
I did in fact see that.
Yeah,
yes, very funny.
And that was pretty much the last thing we saw of anything even remotely Avatar.
Right, because something else happened in another park that we'll talk about later, and they went, never mind us, just pay attention to that.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's in the works. Are you excited in any way, shape, or form about that?
Yes and no. I love the movie, and yes, it is a movie, and I have seen it. But, I don't know, it could be fun.
I think it's. I've said this before. We've probably even said it on a Ear in Review before, so we'll keep it brief. But I think it'll be an enjoyable experience, land to be in, regardless of whether it's Avatar or not. I don't think that's going to really matter.
Yeah, if Harry Potter causes them to throw a ton of money at Avatar, then it'll be really nice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that is on the way. It's certainly an item to mark for the future. However, here's something else that'll be coming up in the very near future that I have a feeling you and I would love to check out if given the opportunity. At the beginning of the year, Club 33, the exclusive club in New Orleans Square out at Disneyland, closed temporarily. Should be reopening soon, right?
Absolutely. I've actually been told that it's going to open sometime in the next 30 days.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I was actually talking to a friend of mine at the Kungaloosh meet yesterday, and he said we should meet up. And I said, yeah, let's do lunch. And he said, how about in the club? So the next time we do this Ear in Review, I might be able to give a review of how it looks.
Well, I've heard that would be excellent. I definitely am eager to see the changes in there. I've heard that for a duration when it first opens, it's going to be pretty locked down as far as, you used to be members could just sort of book days or lunch or dinner there for anybody that they had, a friend or family or whatever. And now I heard that the members actually have to be there physically in person.
Members do have to be there, and my understanding is that for the first period of time, it's going to be just the member and one person.
Oh, wow. So really, because I'm sure every member is going to want to get in there right away when it reopens.
Absolutely, and it's supposed to be beautiful. The reviews that I've seen from people that have been inside, they said that it's really, really nice. But if the logo is any idea,
yeah, that's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I think one of the Imagineers' kindergarten child, they found the Club 33 logo and went, Daddy, I can draw that.
Yeah, it looks like something that somebody was just learning how to use Adobe Illustrator and vector artwork, was like, ooh, gradients, let me throw those randomly in there. And it lacks the class and elegance of the old one.
Yeah, I would have been very proud to show that to Calvin as something I had drawn, yeah, that kind of thing. So it's really bad.
It is. That's unfortunate. But hopefully the rest of the club will not be sort of in line with that. There's supposed to be a little jazz lounge. That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is.
Not a little jazz lounge, a huge jazz lounge.
Right, because New Orleans Square is like massive Club 33 construction zone.
Exactly. My understanding is that they found mold in the walls when they broke into them. And so they've had to do a little bit more than they expected to do, but everything seems to be happening on time.
Okay.
But yeah, that second half, when you used to walk, for all of you who have been in the club, when you walk in and you go and you turn to the right to walk past the buffet and you go across that little bridge.
Right.
If you kept going straight, it was just like a cast member area and a handicapped bathroom back there. And then that went over like the French Market and things like that. That entire area on top of that building over there is now that new jazz club.
Wow. So yeah, definitely substantial changes in there. Hopefully at the second half Ear in Review, 6 months from now, we'll be able to talk more extensively about it.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, definitely hoping.
Well, as that closed at the beginning of the year temporarily, there was a more permanent change at Disney. A long-standing entertainment act got the boot.
Yes, the Main Street Electrical Parade went away.
No, I don't think that was this year.
Oh, Billy Hill and the Hillbillies.
Yes. Were you a Billy Hill fan?
I was a latecomer, but I was definitely a fan of them.
Because they've been around for decades.
They have been around. It was like 20, I think it was either 19 or 20, 21 years that they had been around. It was in that kind of category. I was there at the final set of shows, and they did the final day. They did it in the back in the old Festival of Fools Arena. And as the day progressed, more and more people showed up.
Really?
And they ended up, it was like I think they said there was 6,000 people. That is the maximum for that arena. And they had to close the gates
That's impressive. A lot of, I mean, obviously Disneyland has many decades of history and a lot of loyal local followers, and it's good to hear that they all showed up to Disney and then probably followed them right out the door and over to that other park right down the street.
That's right. Yeah, they went to Knott's Berry Farm, and they are now known as Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies.
I feel like Knott's is doing a really good job lately of capitalizing on all that nostalgia that Disney is skipping.
Yeah, pretty much anything that Disney is dropping at this point, Knott's is picking them up. And as we were walking around Knott's the other day with my dad, we were just kind of noticing that, like I think the old Minor 49ers are also playing over there as
Really?
well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it is literally down the street, just up the highway, a few minutes away from Disneyland, and so there's certainly a lot of history to Knott's Berry Farm as well. I wasn't even aware of not being from California of sort of the extent in which Knott's played a very important role in the world of theme parks, and I've learned more and more about that in recent years, and I'm pretty excited to sort of explore that park even more. I feel like a lot of Disney fans are flocking there now.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. I've been going there since I was a small boy, and it's definitely a fun place to go. It gets, it's the butt of jokes, just like Universal ends
Sure,
up being.
yeah.
But that's just simply because people love Disneyland and they want to tease
Right.
anything else. But yeah, it is a great, great place, and yeah, you should definitely check it out.
How long before the first Knott's Social Club shows up?
Yeah, that's funny. I have talked to a bunch of people who say I now have Knott's annual passes.
Yeah.
Because Billy Hill and the
Oh,
Hillbillies
wow,
went
okay.
over there.
Well, yeah, I will definitely have to see them whenever I get over there. Completely changing topics here from there, although we are talking about sort of the history of Disney, and it relates to that. Disney and Marvel, new comics this year.
Yeah, I was just about to say my transition for that would have been, Billy Hill and the Hillbillies are really weird.
Indeed, are they and their fans would be seekers of the weird then.
They would be, and this will be the first one that I have nothing to say about. I have no
Well,
idea what this is.
So, see, I mean, you certainly know the concept of the Museum of the Weird.
Yes.
And Rolly Crump's involvement of that and creating that many years ago in the development of the Haunted Mansion with Walt Disney and everything, and then some Imagineers and some folks over at Marvel decided to put together a new comic line called Disney Kingdoms, and 5 issues of this new comic, Seekers of the Weird, sort of a mini series of comic, came out, and it's pretty fun, pretty entertaining. It's it's not quite the Haunted Mansion. They took this old Rolly Crump concept and ran with it and took it in a new direction. And he was there sort of for the official launch of it, doing signings of it, and a lot of his artwork is sort of integrated into the comic, and it's pretty fun to see how Disney's purchase of Marvel is now sort of coming full circle and bringing them together.
Yeah, it's kind of nice now that you talk about it. I have a better memory of what this is now, and it is kind of nice that these little comic books and things are coming out, and we're seeing things. I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but the other comic books that have come out, like Figment and stuff.
Yeah. It is on the list for later, but we can talk about it now. Whatever. One issue of Figment has also come out, which was Seekers of the Weird was nice. It was definitely sort of a hardcore Disney nerd type of comic, because if you even know what the Museum of the Weird is, then you're pretty hardcore Disney. But Figment, much more broad of a character. Anyone who went to Epcot years ago, and I mean today to some extent, but more so back in the day with the Dreamfinder and everything, Figment has done very well. In fact, it sold out the first print run very quickly, and they already are working on a second print.
And aren't they rewriting the history of the characters in the story as well?
Yeah, I mean the Dreamfinder has a name, and it's sort of a prequel almost to the Journey into Imagination. He's a much younger character, and it shows him creating Figment and the adventure that ensues from there, which we don't know what that is yet because only one issue's out so far.
See, this is one of those alternate reality things, where it's not what it appears to be. And so we're going to find out that Figment is actually this like bad character, and he's keeping the Dreamfinder captive.
I hope not.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I enjoyed Seekers of the Weird, but the first issue of Figment is really fantastic, really well written, great artwork. A lot of nods for Disney fans to pick up, down to even using the font that they used to use in Future World, and things like that. So it's pretty exciting, and the people that are involved, the Imagineers that are working with Marvel to create these comics, are definitely big Disney fans unto themselves, and it's just a lot of fun that they're putting all that together.
Now, is this? I seem to remember it being that these comics are now coming out in both physical and digital form.
Yeah, and it's not just these. Marvel in general has a pretty extensive library of. I guess it's like an iPad app, or I'm sure there's an Android one as well, where you can purchase comics digitally and just flip through them on your device, and you don't actually have to physically own one.
Well, that'll be nice. 50 years from now, you can go, I own issue 1 of Figment, and you can open your iPad.
Yeah, your iPad that no longer works 50 years from now.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'll be classic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I definitely have the physical copies of all of those comics so far for that exact reason. It's they're comics, they're collectibles. They're something you want to put on a shelf, and yes, 50 years from now, I want to be able to pull it out and be like, hey, this is cool.
Absolutely.
So, I have absolutely no transition whatsoever to the next topic.
Well, having a physical comic would actually add a little spice down the road.
Well done. Sure. So you've often said that Epcot is a place with a bunch of restaurants, and then, there's some rides too.
Well, yeah, Walt Disney World in general is a series of restaurants with ride shows and attractions in between to keep you busy between meals.
Sure, but particularly Epcot, and increasingly so, because early this year in the Morocco area, which already had 2 restaurants, a quick service and a table service, they now have a sort of in-between service that's called Spice Road Table.
Oddly enough, I have never eaten in Morocco. I've been to Walt Disney World like 8 or 9 times, and I have never eaten.
It's one of those that's pretty easy to skip because there's so many good things there, and the quick service is right up front in the pavilion, so you can go in there pretty quickly. But the table service restaurant, Marrakesh, is way in the back of the pavilion. Even if you walk back there, you might not even realize it's there. It's so incredibly hidden. I'm surprised anybody eats there. So I think I've only eaten there once, maybe twice.
Just the idea of me missing belly dancers, though.
Well, yeah, that is definitely the draw of that restaurant, is some lively entertainment over a meal. So but this new one, Spice Road Table, right in the front, right along the water, with big windows looking out over the lagoon there. You can see Spaceship Earth in the distance, and it is designed to be small plates of food, and as the name suggests, they heavily spice everything. Not necessarily spicy, but well spiced.
Now, you said windows overlooking the lagoon. Is this a good place to watch illuminations from?
Yeah, there's some outdoor seating as well, and I wouldn't necessarily want to watch it from the indoor part because the windows, you'd have to be like right up against the window to be able to see the fireworks in the air. If you were a little bit further back, you probably wouldn't see much of anything, but yes, certainly there are good viewing areas from there. I don't know how well it's been doing since it opened. Every time I go by, it's relatively empty.
Yeah, it's like me. Everybody's like, Morocco. Okay, that's nice. And they walk on.
Yeah, but the food is there. The food that is there is quite good. I enjoyed it. I've eaten there, I think, a couple of times now, and I enjoyed it.
Mental note to self. Try to remember to eat there next time.
And that'll be a few years from now?
I'm pushing to get out to Walt Disney World sometime next year, but you never know how plans are going to go. Sometimes plans, trips get pushed out.
Yes. As they do. Speaking of pushing out, there's a certain bit of entertainment that indeed got pushed out of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, my buddy Push is gone.
It was a really bizarre sequence of events, and of course, again with the hardcore Disney fans, little things like a talking, moving trash can erupt into a big controversy.
Absolutely. And the fact that they said, no, he's not going anywhere. Yes, he's going somewhere. No, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it became known amongst the Disney fan community that Push was on his way out. And then I think it was the Orlando Sentinel that Disney officially told them, no, Push is not going anywhere. And then like one day later, he was gone.
Yeah, and it's odd. And that's such a throwaway character. I can't imagine that it cost them very much to keep him around.
No, for what I understand, it was a contract issue. The creator of Push, I guess, owns that concept and technology and whatever it is, and has been at a long-standing contract with Disney, and through some issues with negotiations, it sort of fizzled out.
Okay, so I guess that officially puts it on the he wanted more money and they didn't want to pay it.
Probably. Although, I mean, you look at Disney and they have, R2-D2 running around and or wheeling around, and it's not like they don't have the ability to create this, so it must be sort of a patent issue or something. I don't know specifically. Something that prohibits Disney from creating their own version of this.
Okay, so send your emails to Ricky Briganti or
Yes.
Ricky at InsideTheMagic.net for calling R2D2 a trash can.
A very advanced, high-tech trash can. There you go. Yeah. So I always liked Push. It was fun. He wasn't really on a schedule. It was just sort of one of those things that you would stand back and all of a sudden hear the little squeaky voice and people being entirely amused by it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And your videos of you interacting with it and stuff like that were awesome as well. And I'm just really sad that they let him go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of letting it go.
Am I going to feed these to you all day?
You are the entire time. I'm just going to let you roll with every single one of them. So yeah, go ahead.
I'll just go with the flow. All right. Yeah, the cast of Frozen has apparently sang together live.
This year has been, well, I mean, it started last year, but this year has been the year of Frozen. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, they're even selling frozen ice cream out here at Disneyland.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
In summer, no doubt.
In summer.
So, yes, Frozen, leading up to the Academy Awards, Disney, as they like to do to sort of build hype surrounding nominated features, they put on a concert, very, very tiny concert for select invited media and I don't know, executives and that sort of thing. It was very small, but it was the first and pretty sure only time that the cast of Frozen actually came together in one place and sang all the songs from the film.
Yeah, they were like, wait, you're Elsa?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, classic quotes.
Right, and then, of course, immediately, Disney put out like a 20-second clip of it or something, and everyone was like, no, we want to see the whole concert, and they're like, oh, okay, here's one more song.
Right.
Like, no, we want to see all. No, okay, here's one more song, but you have to go to our special website and register and this, that, and the other, and it's like, oh, you're killing me.
Yeah, if you could just release it.
Right, and then the Frozen Blu-ray came out a couple of months later, and it wasn't on that either.
Which, that's just silly.
However, there's going to be a special edition Frozen Blu-ray coming out later this year, and maybe it'll be on that?
That's the one that actually comes to you frozen.
Yes, and then it freezes your Blu-ray player.
Yeah, it's going to be like the frozen banana treats. You're going to walk up and go, I'll take a frozen banana and a Blu-ray, please.
Perfect.
Yes.
Is it edible? What does a Blu-ray taste like?
My favorite flavor has always been blue. So I couldn't tell you, but like blue M&Ms when they did that, I voted for the blue M&M because I like blue. So blue food is fine with me.
Like window washer, Windex.
Kind of.
Real
yeah.
tasty. Anyway.
Almost, yeah.
So, as I said, Academy Awards was shortly thereafter. And, of course, Frozen, big hit there. Idina Menzel sang Let It Go, which was also another fun bit of controversy surrounding John Travolta.
I was going to say, wait a second. I don't remember Idina Menzel singing it. It was Abu Dhabi Abu Boo Boo or something, wasn't it?
That's right. It was Adele Dazeem, yes.
Yes. So you got the name wrong.
Yeah, I did. And Travolta definitely got it right. But
absolutely.
Yeah. So she sang, and everybody, of course, heavily critiqued her, and as people tend to do.
I was a little, even I was listening to it, and I was like, she pushed too hard on that.
It was that momentous, hugely built up, biggest song in the universe type of moment, and I'm not sure there is such a thing as fulfilling expectations on that performance.
Right. But, the fact that she went into part of our world right at that point,
Yes.
see, I was like, that's not a good choice.
But ultimately, Let It Go did win its Oscar for the song, and Frozen, of course, won its Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and Frozen Mania continues. I'm sure it's on the list about 78 more times here over the next, couple hours.
Right. Yeah, they're actually going to convert the theme park that you guys have out there, the water park, the Blizzard Beach. It's now going to be the Frozen water park.
Yes, it's all going to be icy slides where you sort of get halfway down and then your skin just sticks.
Ow.
Yeah. So speaking of Frozen characters.
Oh, wow. I don't follow that one.
Captain America was back years ago, got frozen and thawed out.
That's a movie I didn't see.
See? Well, yes. Captain America is now at Disneyland in Innoventions, thawed out in modern day, ready to meet and greet with people.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll stick with the segues.
Have you met Captain America?
I have not. I'm not and people are, send hate email to paul@windowtothemagic.com, but I'm not a big comic book fan. I'm not a big Marvel fan, and I'm not a big movie fan. So for these, I will see them in passing.
Right.
But I very rarely find myself in Interventions.
Well, I mean, that's been the case for many, many years now, but Marvel is definitely drawing more people than ever into Interventions. And when I was there a few months ago, I also did not meet Captain America, but it wasn't because I didn't try. It was because when I got up there, the line was like 78,000 people long.
Right. Yeah, they just need to name that like the Marvel disc.
Yeah, it's kind of moving in that direction. I mean, there's now Cap in there, you got Thor in there, and the Iron Man display is in there, and I'm sure there will be more to come as more Marvel movies come out.
Yeah, they should just redesign it as the Hall of Legends or something.
Well, a lot of people have been saying it would be a great place to have, and I'm sure you don't even know what I'm talking about when I say this, but the Stark Expo that was in Iron Man 2.
I was going to say, I do know Tony Stark just from all of the stuff that happened around that movie.
Right. Well, yeah, Iron Man 2 definitely sort of tied into the world of Disney. This Stark Expo concept reached back to the history of Disney, and it had Tony Stark's father portrayed as a very Walt Disney-like character, and Richard Sherman even contributed to the movie with a new song that was very Disney-like, as his songs tend to be, because for obvious reasons. And it would be a perfect fit for there. I think Disney is sort of easing into Marvel in the parks, just making sure that it is indeed something that people want, and it clearly is.
Yeah, the fact that he wrote the song, "It's a Great Big Beautiful New Expo," is it bothered me a little bit, really.
Yeah, it didn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, it just didn't flow. But that's okay. It's all right. We'll give him credit for having tried.
So we'll see. If Marvel took over Interventions completely, would that be a good thing for you? Would you just not care?
It wouldn't matter to me
because you don't go in there anyway.
I don't. I mean, the only other option in there is the Microsoft house of yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
the Microsoft house of we renovated this 10 years ago.
Correct. Yeah, half of which doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first time I went in Interventions on my first Disneyland visit, however many years ago, I was very confused. It was like, well, this isn't the Carousel of Progress, and it's still rotating, but the rotation makes absolutely no sense, and for some reason I have to go upstairs in order to leave.
Yeah, they did the rotation, I believe, specifically to make me happy, because I used to go in there specifically so that I could ride the rotating building again, and then beyond that, and the Tom Morrow character, I could not care less.
Yeah, and then that ended. It doesn't rotate anymore, and now you enter on the second floor instead of the first, and it's all just sort of a mess of stuff. So, I have to imagine they have some pretty big plans for that down the line.
It's either great big plans or somebody's being lazy. One of the two.
That's true. And you never know when it comes to Disney or hey, we have this great idea. Oh, we don't have the money for that.
Time will tell.
Indeed. So let's move on to the next topic here, where I just threw in a personal sort of plug here, as is always fun to do.
This episode of the Ear and Review is brought to you by DistantCreations.com.
Not really, but there's the plug.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about we've been doing this this is possibly the 10th one of these,
I think.
And if we go back and you were to listen to the first, I'm sorry. But second, you probably would have heard me plugging the website, the Inside the Magic site, as distantcreations.com/Inside the Magic, as it used to be for many years. And then over the years, my own personal site, distantcreations.com, has gone through some changes, became a blog that I never posted to, and then a different blog that I never posted to, and maybe another one that I never posted to, and so now it's just sort of back to the roots of what it was, and it's a little portfolio of sorts for anyone who wants to see things that I do.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I'm really good at starting up websites and not updating them, so I'm right
it's
there.
It's so easy because you get sort of that motivation. Oh, I want a new website, and then you do it, and you're like, wow, that's awesome, and yeah, that's it.
Right. You check out my Country Bear website that I built back in the 1990s, and it's been stagnant.
Does that still exist?
Oh yeah, it's still there. Doneinthedark.com.
Awesome. Yeah. See, there,
yeah.
Perfect. And I'm sure you're making a fortune off that site too.
That was way before I looked into monetizing.
Yeah, well, are there pictures of you in the Country Bear movie on that site?
Yes, actually.
That is a reason to go right there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one picture of me, and you can tell that it's me because it's circled and it's got a big arrow and it says me.
It's a cartoon character with a thumbs up, right?
Exactly. Yes. No, it's actually a almost 75-pound lighter me standing out in the crowd scene during the triumphant finale of the Country Bears movie. So,
and that's about as much of that movie as you need to see.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the end of the personal plug for now. For another two or three topics or so.
Yeah, with pepper them in throughout the episode, and
exactly,
and everything will be good. Now, this next topic, the Festival of Fantasy Parade. You guys have got one killer dragon.
I was supremely jealous of Mickey's Sensational Parade for the last couple of years that it's been out there. It immediately became one of my favorite Disney parades ever, and then we get Festival of Fantasy. Finally, we get something that's like worthy of Disneyland quality.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful parade.
It is.
I've seen it. I've heard it. It's fun.
You mentioned the dragon. That is definitely the highlight of the Festival of Fantasy Parade. In fact, right now, as we speak, I am using my Festival of Fantasy Parade Steampunk Maleficent Dragon mousepad. That's how cool it is.
Okay.
That is the measure of cool right there.
He's got his own mousepad.
Yeah, no, not really. But the dragon is huge. Absolutely massive, and it has all these moving parts, and the tail wags, and the wings move, and the head moves around, and then naturally it spits a giant blast of fire.
Yeah, which is odd because, like in the electrical parade, you had Elliot, and he just blew smoke.
Right.
Because they were like, yeah, we're not going to blow fire at people.
well, now they are, and it's really awesome. In fact, that whole parade unit is really unlike, I think, anything I've seen out of a Disney parade outside of maybe a Halloween parade, because it's really spooky. It's not sort of, I mean, it's the Sleeping Beauty unit, but you don't actually see Aurora anywhere in it. You've just got the epic battle between Prince Philip and the Maleficent Dragon and all of her minions that are all thorny looking and on stilts, and the Raven with the big wings, and it's just awesome.
Wait, I thought minions were little yellow things.
Not those minions. Oh, that's a different park.
Gotcha.
But the rest of the parade is great too, and of course there's a hint of Frozen in there as well, which was it's so crazy to watch Disney's sort of ability to be way behind on the Frozen phenomenon, as if somehow they didn't know this movie was going to be huge.
I just find myself walking through the park now going, let it go, people. Just let it go.
Well, Disney is definitely not letting it go. They're going in the opposite direction. In this one, there's the initial float of Festival Fantasy Parade was going to be is the Princess Garden float. It was, has a variety of princesses on it. And then sort of smacked on the back of it is this little vignette of the Frozen princesses, Anna and Elsa, and a little sort of kind of animated Olaf on there. And it's clear that the float was not designed to have them on there. They were like, we need to put this on here real quick.
Yeah, well, yeah, that whole, like the one here that we have before Sensational now is a converted Christmas float.
Right.
So yeah, they're just kind of sticking them in wherever they can.
Yeah, even the music of Festival of Fantasy was, really, it's an original score for the parade, fully orchestrated, and it makes its debut, and there's no Frozen music in there. So then a couple of weeks later, they sort of shoehorn the Frozen music into it because they felt like, it needs to be there.
Yeah, well, the record scratch, and then the,
yeah.
It was, I mean, at least it explains it.
It's like you hear Once Upon a Dream, and all of a sudden, in summer.
Exactly. See, now we both sang on the show. And we both sang the same song.
and it won't be the last time.
Yeah,
This
sorry,
half year in
Josh.
review brought to you by Olaf.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and he loves frozen bananas. I think is what it is, right?
Olaf, I don't know. He likes carrots.
Oh, warm hugs. That's what it is.
Right,
I knew,
okay.
I knew it was something.
Something, close. Frozen banana hug.
Could be.
Yeah.
So my favorite place to buy a frozen banana is over by Big Thunder Mountain.
Really?
Yes.
And, Big Thunder Mountain's kind of rumbly now.
Yeah, actually, it's really, really rumbly. Since that thing has opened, I've actually joked with people that it finally is living up to its name.
Yes, Thunder. Very, very accurate. Now, it reopened after more than a year of being closed?
Of course, we're talking about Disneyland.
Yes.
Big Thunder Mountain.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it was closed for, I believe, 72 years.
It was close, too. And then when I finally got out there after it had reopened, I was really surprised just how loud and booming the new additions are, because I was walking just vaguely in the area, and in the distance I heard... I was like, oh, is it going to rain? I'm like, no, wait, it's Southern California. It doesn't rain. So, yeah.
Yeah, the next time we're walking through the park, I would like you to walk vaguely so that I can see how that looks. Yeah, this new redo, they redid the track, they repainted a bunch of things, and they completely redid Lift Hill number 3. And it's a smooth, fast ride, and it's just wonderful. I mean, I always enjoyed Big Thunder, but it wasn't worth waiting in line. Now it is. It's just fun.
Yeah, they did a really nice job of preserving the classicness of the ride. All the sort of old elements that you'd expect are there. The town at the end, the Rainbow Ridge, I guess it is.
There are no elephants in this ride.
No elephants?
No, you said they preserved all the old elephants. They did not.
Jungle Cruise for that one. It's
Rainbow Ridge.
The goat, the goat is there and
Yes.
looking better than ever.
Absolutely, and it's clear. And I don't know whether they redid the sound system or not in this, but everything is just so nice.
Yeah, the sound is great when you're going around some of the turns that are normally. I mean, they're fun, they're thrilling, but they didn't really have anything there. You can hear, and even waiting for the ride, you can hear louder, clearer sounds of the train going around. It doesn't sound like a 50-year-old recording anymore.
Right, which is really interesting when you're sitting there because it's loud at times.
Yeah,
really loud.
But I had a pun intended blast riding through this.
Wow. Yeah, I've been on it a bunch of times. I went prior to its opening and things like that, and got a chance to ride it. And I still am going back, even though there's quite a line for it. I'm still going back and riding it, that's a good sign.
Yeah, the explosion sequence is a lot of fun. There's a lot of things going on in there, projections and lighting and fog and the rumbling that we mentioned, and it's just a great job bringing an old attraction sort of modern.
And to get all mice chat all over you, the one thing with that lift hill is that the fog is not working now on a regular basis. And so it's kind of, I don't know whether they're having problems with it or what, but it just, when you go through there, it's not what it was in those first days.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that I saw the full blast of the fog. I think I saw a almost there version, but I still liked it.
Yeah, it's fun. It doesn't matter.
Definitely. And if you really need a good shot of something, you can head over to Downtown Disney.
Oh, you can head just about anywhere in the Disney
Yeah,
parks
that's
now,
true.
and find a Starbucks.
Yes. Have you been to the new Downtown Disney Starbucks out there?
the downtown Disney Starbucks, the one out by the tram loading zone. That's the one you're talking about, right? Not the one down by Sephora, or the one down by the Earl of Sandwich, or the one in the Disneyland. I'm kidding. Yes, I have been to this location. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I have sat out there at about 1:30 in the morning with some people, and it's a beautiful outdoor seating area. It's got tables and these big long benches that are built out of cement, and it's just really, really nice. And the building's all glass fronted, and it's a really nice location. I like it.
They recently opened up one at Downtown Disney out here, and actually, yes, two of them as well on each side. But the one that I'm talking about, it almost looks identical to the one that has opened out there. They both have this interactive chalkboard thing where you can actually communicate coast to coast, which is...
You can communicate coast to coast? I didn't know that.
I haven't seen it in person yet. It just was sort of a very recent addition. I don't know to what extent that happens, but it happens.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen basically, as far as I can tell, when you draw on it, it's keeping track of what you're drawing. And as you draw it, then it after a certain amount of time, it starts to disappear in the same order that you drew it.
Ah, okay.
So it's kind of weird. So if you draw a line left to right, it's going to disappear left to right.
Yeah, I somehow that's all interconnected between the two locations now.
Either that, or it was 1:30 in the morning and I was hallucinating.
Which is entirely possible, depending on if you had just come from Trader Sam's.
Exactly, which I had not, but that's funny.
Yeah. So that's I don't drink coffee. I'm not a big Starbucks person, but clearly very popular.
Right. And, people were freaking out when they put them in the parks.
Right.
Outside the Magic, not so much of a problem. When they do it in downtown Disney, that sort of thing. When they do it inside the parks, people freak out. Not outside.
Speaking of outside...
That was kind of lame.
That was extremely lame, but I'll take it. Okay. Yes. Hot on the heels of my other plug a few minutes ago.
This episode of the Ear in Review brought to you by Outside the Magic.
See, that would be a very different Ear in Review podcast, talking about everything except Disney.
Yes.
Which is literally everything. Now, yeah, it is. I don't know. Do you how much non-Disney do you do on Window to the Magic?
There's non-Disney?
I know you've been to Universal and Knott's.
I have, yeah, and that's probably it. It's very, very little.
Well, you did some Halloween stuff, right? A little bit.
No. I mean that was
just
Knott's.
for fun.
Yeah, that was Knott's.
Right. Oh, okay. So that was Knott's. Yeah. So obviously, I am a huge fan of all things Halloween and spooky and crazy and not so Disney things. And so after a while, started getting the feedback from Disney fans like, hey, we don't necessarily need to see decapitations all the time.
Why not?
So it was time to sort of spawn all of that off into a subsection of Inside the Magic at OutsideTheMagic.com. And that is sort of the home of all things very, very not Disney.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense because, I've always had a problem with people who have Disney podcasts or Disney websites and whatever, and they talk about non-Disney stuff on them. I go there for the Disney stuff, so I do totally buy into this.
That's the feedback that I've gotten, and Inside the Magic has evolved over the years to include not Disney stuff. I wouldn't even really call it a Disney podcast anymore, website either. It's certainly Disney focused, but has evolved. But then there's even limits to that, to where there's a lot of people who, as I said, don't want to see. Halloween's sort of the perfect example because I go a little crazy when it comes to Halloween time.
A little crazy,
a tiny bit, and you know what? This gives me a great excuse to do even more.
It does, and then that's good. And I know Calvin is enjoying it because he's constantly coming to me and saying, "Hey, did you see Outside the Magic? Blah blah blah," and I say, no, and then he shows me what it is. So,
well, I know you had fun at that zombie shooting thing that you went to.
Oh yes, Haunted Hollywood Sports. That was fun.
See, that is definitely not Disney, but would be perfect for outside.
Yes, and I actually am going to be contacting them to see what they want in the way of media coverage for this year too. So. We'll see. Maybe I can do a recording or two for you, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, we will. Back to Disney now. The annual Disney shareholders meeting took place, and that is always an interesting event.
Yeah, I've been to one of these. They're not a thrill a minute, but they're fun.
Well, fun is a relative term, I think, especially once it opens to Q&A.
Well, yes, but excuse me, we'll edit that out.
They go through sort of the business side of things, and then they'll open it up to the Q&A of those who are in attendance, the shareholders, and inevitably somebody, they're supposed to quickly and succinctly get across whatever their question is, and they'll ramble on for 10 minutes about something completely irrelevant.
Yes, we want Song of the South. Is the People Mover coming back?
Right.
And what's the other one?
This year, there was the guy who was going on and on about how Disneyland is shunning the pin traders by putting them in corners, in uncomfortable places, and this, that, and the other. And I think everybody was collectively rolling their eyes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a requirement for these meetings.
Right. But surprisingly, this year, there were some pretty exciting things that just came out of nowhere. Near the beginning of the meeting, usually Bob Iger gets up there and just sort of rattles through, this is what's great about Disney for the last year since the last meeting. And then he launched into really sort of under his breath announcements like Shanghai Disneyland is getting an entire Pirates land.
Yeah, the fact that you're going to have to walk through this land in knee-deep water, though, I think is just a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, to get there, instead of the monorail, there's that moment from the movie where Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom are walking under the water holding the boat over their heads with like the little air bubble. That's how everybody's going to get in there.
Right, and that is going to be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so many boats to go around, and, then there's the undead pirates that come in and attack you, and yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a mess.
But no, that looks pretty incredible. For anyone who's a fan of pirates, be it the classic version or the film version, it seems like it's a good melding of the two worlds, and it's, giant shipwreck and this ocean front, because, I mean, the Shanghai Disneyland is being built like oceanside. So they're legit going to be able to sort of embrace that and make you feel like you're in the middle of the Caribbean in Shanghai.
The only problem I had with it was the location where they're building it. It's not here in California.
yeah, it's a little far away.
I mean, they were insisting to build Shanghai Disneyland in China.
I know, that's terrible. They could just have a themed Shanghai area of Anaheim.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an entire parking lot area out there that we can convert into a new. I mean, I realize it's a groundbreaking idea. Pardon the pun there, but they could do it.
Get rid of that garage. Who needs that?
Right, yeah. Well, a 6-story parking structure can be a 6-story park.
They could put the Pirates area on top of the garage.
See? Now we're thinking.
And then fill it with... Okay, anyway. So that looks fun. That's still a while away, and I have a feeling neither you nor I will be there anytime soon.
No.
But I would love to. That aside, movies announced... Cars 3 and Incredibles 2, which is nobody, Cars 3, it's like, okay, whatever. But Incredibles 2, that's the one that people got really excited for.
Yeah, Cars 3, Fire and Rescue, and Incredibles 2, the Frozen years.
Frozone.
Yeah, Frozone years, yeah, exactly. Oh, so are we saying that Frozone and Anna is going to be dating in this one?
I've seen a lot of really amusing sort of fan artwork combining every character that exists in the universe that has to do with ice. You got Jack Frost, you got Mr. Freeze from Batman, and yeah, I think somehow they're all either going to have a giant relationship or an epic battle.
I like it.
Or both.
Yes. Well, both of these movies sound like, Incredibles was a fun movie. I did, in fact, see it. And then, obviously, Cars is fun.
Cars is a tremendous success, particularly from merchandising standpoint. So that's a no-brainer for there to be another one.
Right.
But Incredibles is something people have been asking for years and years. And Brad Bird will be back to direct it again. So that's good news.
Yeah, I've heard about the Bird. He's a good guy.
So that's still a ways away, though. Pixar's got some other movies that they're working on. But this year, there was a movie that came out that maybe you saw, perhaps, maybe?
I did not.
Muppets Most Wanted, the sequel to The Muppets.
Yeah, actually, see, I sent you a message a couple of weeks, possibly a month ago, asking you if anything else Disney had come out, and you never got back to me.
Oh.
I was going to attempt to see a few of these films. I don't know. This didn't look good.
It was. I didn't really like it.
I hate to say that about the Muppets.
Yeah,
though.
well, so the Muppets, the previous Muppets, the Jason Segel, Amy Adams Muppets, I loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. They did a good job of capturing the classic nostalgia of it, but also building in a story that actually carried it through to the end. It wasn't the most original story, but it was a story.
When they sang "Human" again, that was a good part.
Close enough, yes. But the Muppets Most Wanted, in a way, it retreated back to sort of classic Muppet capers in which it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. It was just a lot of random Muppet moments that unto themselves are very funny, but in the grand scheme of an hour-and-a-half movie, you don't get the overall satisfaction of it.
Right, that's why the Muppet Show was 30 minutes.
Right, and that's what I think Muppets are fantastic for YouTube. That you can put out those moments of 2, 3, 4 minutes, and they are drop dead hilarious. But then put like 30 of those back to back, and by the end, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it, Muppets.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go out and refill the popcorn. I'll be back in a month.
Right. There were a couple of really good songs in this one, but I didn't feel like they lived up to the previous one. It was pretty clear to me that Jason Segel had a lot to do with the success of the last one, and he was not involved in this one.
Gotcha. And there was that weird Kermit with the
mole.
Yeah,
Constantine. His song, in my opinion, was actually the best song in the movie. But yeah, after a while, I mean, you saw more of Constantine than you did of Kermit, which was a little weird.
Well, I think that was the whole point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just weird. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie. It just was not my favorite Muppet adventure ever.
When he said $1 million, I thought that was awesome, though.
You should see the movie then.
Oh, okay then.
So we were talking about Shanghai. Let's talk about Tokyo.
Hey, let's talk about rabbits for a while.
Roger?
Like lucky rabbits.
Oswald.
That is a weird looking walk around character.
He made his first ever official debut at Tokyo, despite everybody dying for him to show up on Buena Vista Street, where he really should be.
Yes.
And yeah, he's rotund.
He is big. That head, it looks like it weighs about 400 pounds.
Yeah, and it's got the big floppy ears, and I mean, I like the overall look of the character. It's the Oswald that looks like he just stepped straight out of Epic Mickey, which is kind of the Oswald that everyone's familiar with today.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Epic Mickey was a miserable failure.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get my picture with Oswald. I don't see him being a hugely popular character here in Florida because we have all the casual tourists, but in California, I think he would do very well.
He would do very well out here, and if he was in Florida, you get a slight breeze, and the character would just blow away because of those ears.
They would just flap in the wind, yes.
Yes. So, Buena Vista Street, perfect idea. Put him, find a spot. And there
about
is
his gas station.
Well, see, the gas station, if they took the merchandise out of there and put him in there as a photo op, that would be fine. But I don't see them doing that.
You are not speaking Disney's language there.
Exactly. The other alternative, would be an odd match, would be to put him in that corner store that is Mortimer's. It's got like the fresh fruit and stuff.
Right.
That would be another perfect location to do the photo op.
Do people actually buy anything from that?
If you listen to Window to the Magic, you've heard me buy stuff from that. Yes, that's a perfect place. There's no line, so
right.
You can walk in and get a water.
Okay.
Presto.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that every time I walk by, there's like nobody in there.
Yeah, and I think it's just a throwaway, get a piece of fruit or a bottle of water place. So I'm only in there for 45 seconds, so I could see why.
Yeah, makes sense. But so last year for Halloween, I made a point to meet a different rabbit that was making a rare appearance at Disneyland. That is not so rare anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say he's never out. Well, until now, Roger has been. I was actually in Disneyland with Michelle from the Disney Dreamgirls podcast back in April, and we were there. She wanted to go there specifically on Easter Sunday to get pictures with all of the Easter characters.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're doing like the last characters, just right before they're going to close, I go get in line, and the guy standing there, first off, he was a listener of the show. If you're listening, hi. And says, so Thumper is going to be going away here in a few minutes. I hope you don't mind. You may end up getting your photo taken with Roger Rabbit instead.
Oh, darn.
My jaw dropped. My eyes came out. There was this honking noise. I mean, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I not only did Michelle get her picture taken, but Calvin got his picture taken, and I got my picture taken with him.
Yeah, you can't cool. Roger is one of the best meet and greets I've ever done. He is so animated.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad that he's out regularly now, even though I paid like $50 just to go to the Halloween party just to see him. I'm not bitter about it because he's awesome.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And, I mean, come on, it's Roger.
Yeah. It's one of those characters that I don't understand why Disney doesn't bring more of the old characters out on a regular basis. They clearly had a lot of interest with the Long Lost Friends thing, and they continued for a little while at Disneyland, whereas out here it was just like, nah, we're done.
Right. Yeah, it's good to see these classic characters, and odd to be calling Roger a classic character.
Well,
but to see these characters coming back out again. I remember going to Disneyland back in the 1980s and things when the Roger Rabbit movie came out, and he was all over the place. I have video of him in the parades. I have video of him walking around and just, walking through town square, and, he was everywhere. And then all of a sudden, poof, gone.
Yeah. I mean, there's Toontown. There's a ride for Roger. You would think the character should be out.
Yeah. And it's not like there's not a big dead space over there where they used to, keep the trolleys where they couldn't do a big meet and greet for Roger.
Yep. But I mean, at least he's out somewhat. Speaking of classic characters,
are you gonna say that it's it's frozen in time? Is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
for a movie that I guarantee you haven't seen.
Absolutely, yeah. Back to Interventions we go. Captain America 2 came out.
It did, and you loved it.
I loved every minute of it that I saw.
Right. No, it was actually a really good movie. Really, really good. One of the best Marvel films. Probably I loved the Avengers. I think I liked Captain America 2 almost as much.
I was just about to say, careful saying it was better than the Avengers.
Right.
People
no, it wasn't.
Mad.
It wasn't quite there, but it was real close. It was a solid movie that got me really excited for more Marvel to come. I feel like these movies just keep getting better, with the exception of Iron Man 3.
All right.
Yeah, I wasn't too fond of that one, but no, Captain America 2 is great. It's this whole Marvel universe is bizarre because, like you, I was not following it at all prior to Disney's purchase of Marvel. I had not seen any of the Marvel movies. At the time, there were, I don't know, 4 or so, and so as soon as the purchase happened, I was like, okay, guess I'm covering Marvel now. I should probably go watch these movies, and so I did, and they've gotten better and better for the most part.
Okay, well, if I ever get bored.
Well, you've got about 9 movies to go through now, so.
I know. I actually, when Iron Man 3 came out, I actually said to Calvin, I said, before this movie comes out, I should really watch Iron Man 1 and 2 and then go see 3.
Right, but you didn't. Well, so here's the goal, because Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios, has said they're already planning their Marvel movies all the way out to something like 2028.
I heard that, and I thought that was one of the coolest things that they could possibly do, is come up with a cohesive storyline that runs through all of the characters, all of the movies, and even the TV shows.
And the Netflix series, and
yeah,
all of it. And they are, and so you better start watching, because if it gets to be 2027 and you haven't seen any of them yet, it's going to be a little tough to catch up.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm going to be taking 2027 off while I catch up on. I'm going to watch one movie per day.
Of course, by then they'll be saying, yes, we've planned it out to 2,142.
Right. And I'm not sure about you, but I don't plan to be around at that point.
I will be frozen.
Ugh. Let it go.
Not yet. But before we get to, yes, even more Frozen, let's mention, we've been talking a lot about the history and the anniversaries and the sort of the past of Disneyland, and a lot of anniversary celebrations happened very recently.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the 50 years of It's a Small World, which I thought it was very nice of them to open up that classic attraction and to let us ride a slightly under rehab, not really painted well, needs to be cleaned attraction.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
They opened it up. I rode by it on the train and it was dirty and filthy. I was like, ew.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I did get a chance to ride it and it looked fine on the inside, but
so they
it,
celebrated the It's a Small World 50th anniversary like 2 weeks before its actual 50th anniversary.
Right.
And this would be 50 years not at Disneyland, but 50 years since the 64 World's Fair,
right.
where it
And
debuted.
they said we're going to celebrate it on the 50th of it being opened
Right.
at the World's Fair, and they even got that date wrong.
Well, so I read somewhere that it was the first day that it opened to anybody, like previews and VIPs and stuff, which didn't really. Yeah, I don't know.
50-year anniversary of the soft opening.
Yeah, exactly. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but they did have a nice a celebration of it with, of course, Richard Sherman was there, and he not only did a little performance in front of It's a Small World, but he went parading through the entire park, conducting a sing-along of course, the It's a Small World song.
Yes, he was walking around collecting 20s and singing. People were like, "Hey, he's sticking 20s in his pockets."
For every lyric that is played, he gets $1.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a nice little celebration, and that I would have liked to have seen them close the attraction, fix it up, and then open it
Yeah, well,
for its 50th, and then have it be nice and bright and shiny and new. But hey, we'll take what we can get.
completely unintentionally, I was in the park at Disneyland on the actual 50-year anniversary date. So I made a point to visit It's a Small World and Primeval World, and on the train. And great moments of Mr. Lincoln I walked by. And what's the other one that opened at World's Fair? What am I missing? Oh, well, Innoventions / Carousel of Progress. Not really.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't really ride that one.
So I kind of just looked at that as well. But I was like, yep, 50 years ago.
Yep, I was in the park that same day, and I completely forgot to ride the thing.
Well, you could ride it the next day, and it's the same thing. So
pretty much.
But right around the same time, I had my own anniversary. Well, it was a little before that, I think, but it was 9 years of Inside the Magic.
This episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Inside the Magic.
I pay myself.
Hey,
That's a good sponsorship.
Take it where you can get it.
Yes, and as we said, you'll be approaching yours very soon.
Yes, as a matter of fact, because this is coming out July 6th, and my 9-year anniversary is like the 28th of July, which will start the 10th season of Window to the Magic.
Does that mean Window to the Magic will be really dirty when you release it as well?
Yes, I'm going to open the show just long enough. It's going to need to be repainted. Yes, absolutely.
So we haven't nearly talked enough about Frozen yet, so let's continue with that.
Okay. Did you know that well, actually, let me rephrase the question here. The answer is about 6 hours. And what is the question?
I feel like this is a Johnny Carson bit.
No, it's a little more Jeopardy.
Okay. What is the wait time to meet Anna and Elsa?
Absolutely. Wow. Whoa.
Well, now, so they moved. Anna and Elsa have been in Norway at Epcot for a while, and there was nothing you could do to meet them except stand in a really long line. So they decided to move them to the Magic Kingdom, to Princess Fairy Tale Hall, where you could also wait in a really, really long line, or you could hopefully grab a Fast Pass Plus option thingy for them now.
Now, why would they move them out of Norway into the Magic Kingdom? I know this isn't what we're talking about, but why would they do that?
Well, you're saying because they made more sense being in Norway?
Uh-huh.
Because they weren't the Norway thing was very much last minute. We need to put them somewhere. Let's sort of stick them in a closet here.
Oh,
and
okay.
they were not equipped to handle the lines that stretched outside of that, down around the corner, and down into the next country in Epcot.
Yeah, but they have that entire back area back behind the bathrooms and the the church and whatever there, and they could have set something up there, and then run the line out, and then just crowd controlled it. That going around World Showcase, there could have been a mile-long line, and it would have been fine.
Well, fine is a relative term, but yes, they could have, but instead, Princess Fairy Tale Hall is the place that they have set up with the intention of rotating princesses in and out of there as they come and go. So it was the natural place for them to put them, especially because they already had FastPass Plus enabled there. It was built with that in mind, and they knew they had to do something to stop a lot of people from waiting hours and hours and hours and hours.
And has it stopped people from waiting hours and hours?
Not everyone.
I didn't think so.
It's a little difficult to get a FastPass Plus for Anna and Elsa. If you don't do it, days, weeks in advance, you're kind of out of luck.
I'm going to be at the Magic Kingdom at 2:00 on October 15th.
Exactly.
And 6 months to the date, I will request to meet Anna and Elsa.
Yep. And if you have a little girl who's a huge Frozen fan, that's exactly what you're going to do.
And that right there is why I have Calvin,
who is also a huge Frozen fan,
and not Brienne, because that's totally different.
Yeah,
you bet.
So have you waited in the line to meet those characters at Disneyland? Have you walked up to it and given that same exact laugh and just turned around and walked away?
Yeah, they look at me really weird when I do that. But above our meet and greet, we have the snowman animatronic.
Yes, which is nice. We don't have that out here.
Yeah, so I can walk up there and go, and they think I'm laughing at the snowman.
But really, you're just laughing at everyone in line.
Right.
See, when I made a point to go see the Olaf animatronic out there because he's kind of cool. So
Yes.
When I walk up there, there's a ton of people standing there taking pictures of him, and then the cast member comes through and says, "No, we need to clear this area. We need to clear this area." I'm like, "Why did you put this thing there, knowing that people were going to want to stop and watch it, and you can't stand there?"
Right. Yeah, the closest that I've gotten to the girls is actually they enter and exit out the back way, which takes them through the Village House restaurant.
Ah.
And so if you're seated in the right place, they will walk right by you. And it's weird because they will walk in, from the meet and greet area backstage, and then I guess they just get a drink of water or something, and then turn around and come right back out again. It's weird.
That's some Disney magic for you.
It is, and they look really refreshed. So it must be Disney water.
Right. Yes. It is. Is it frozen water?
Ice.
Right. Which, speaking of which, everybody keeps saying, so why did they take them out of Norway? Well, of course, the next suggestion is, well, they're going to remake the Maelstrom ride, the boat ride, into a frozen Maelstrom.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Just picking on you on the show. Go ahead.
Wait, do you say it differently?
I say Maelstrom.
Maelstrom? I don't know.
I just
Norway ride.
There you go.
The boat ride, they say it will be remade into a frozen ride, rumor has it. The question is, how does a boat ride work when the ice freezes, the water freezes?
Very quickly. Because it just...
Right. It turns into like the Jamaican bobsled ride.
That's right, yes. And a 1.2 from the Russian judge.
I want to see Cool Runnings and Frozen in a mashup.
Ooh.
I don't really.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so speaking of Epcot, there are, I don't know if that's a particular plan for that, but there are things in the works for Epcot as evidenced by some leadership changes at Imagineering.
Yeah, they put Tom Fitzgerald over there, assigned him to Epcot, which is that good hands? Is that the, kind of doing the Allstate thing, putting Epcot in good hands?
It has great potential. I mean, Tom Fitzgerald has been at Imagineering for many, many, many years. He's one of their head people there, and he was on the project years and years ago for attractions like Horizons, which I loved.
Oh,
so
okay.
Could be a very good thing. Meanwhile, he is not working on Star Wars because Scott Trowbridge was assigned to that project, and he's done some pretty awesome things in the past too.
Now, it says in this headline here, Scott Trowbridge developing Star Wars for Disney theme parks, but What is he developing?
Well, that's what's being figured out now.
Oh, so they just put him in charge of it, and then they're going to decide what, if anything, is built.
I mean, they've been pretty clear that something Star Wars is coming to the parks now that they own Lucasfilm. They're working on something, but whatever that thing is, be it a ride, a land, a theme park, a universe, a Death Star, I don't know. Whatever it is, Scott Trowbridge is leading that project now.
Do not give them the idea of changing Spaceship Earth into the Death Star.
I'm sure the idea is already there, and I'm sure, let's just assume for a second that the rumors are true of Star Wars Land coming to Hollywood Studios. Despite the fact that it's at that park, part of that press event is going to be turning Spaceship Earth into the Death Star temporarily.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Big
absolutely.
Projection and, things flying around and laser blasts and, yeah.
If you can turn it into Mike...
Exactly.
You can turn it into the Death Star, but yeah, just don't even consider actually making that change.
No, that could not happen. Well, I mean, I guess it could, but it won't. It especially won't because Tom Fitzgerald is working on Epcot now, and he is not working on Star Wars. So
you don't say.
That was a reverse segue.
I see. All right. You do reverse on a segue and you fall off most of the time.
Did you hear that Anna and Elsa moved over to the Magic Kingdom?
No. But Inside the Magic has had a ninth anniversary.
That's true.
Yes.
Did you see Captain America 2 yet?
I did not, but I did meet Roger Rabbit out at Disneyland.
This needs to stop immediately. Moving forward, I mentioned Hollywood Studios. They also celebrated an anniversary.
Don't let anybody say we don't have fun doing this. Yes, 25 years ago, I've been going to this theme park
MGM.
through many name changes
right.
For 25 years now. I was there in October of 1989 when it first opened.
And this is where things get a little bit sad because, yes, 25 years of this park and 25 years later, it's not that different. And they barely celebrated the anniversary because the anniversary happened during their big press event, 3-day press event that we'll talk about in a second, and they barely even mentioned the anniversary to the attending media.
Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, exactly. And that could tie in with what we were just, talking about, Star Wars Land and all of that. Could be sort of reserving that for the future.
It could be. I've always liked Hollywood Studios, mostly because it had, a couple of cool attractions, but it had the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. And again, we've talked about the fact that I go dining first and attractions second.
Right. And yes, that is still there. It is still enjoyable. As far as theme park food goes, it's actually pretty good there.
I love going into Hollywood Studios. I really do. And matter of fact, I just played the incredibly much smaller backstage tram tour on Window to the Magic this last week.
Yes, it is not what it used to be.
Wow, is that short now?
It's more of we're going to take you backstage at a look behind Hollywood Studios, and we're back.
Well, it's we're going to put you on a tram and drive you out to Catastrophe Canyon and back.
Yeah, pretty much, and you might get lucky and see something vaguely interesting on the way.
Right, and that's other than that, woof.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Catastrophe Canyon, that ride pretty much wouldn't exist anymore.
Right. Yeah. It used to be fabulous back when you used to go into the special effects, rooms, and you go through the editing rooms, and you went through the costuming area, and you saw all of that stuff, and that was great.
And
then
Residential Street existed.
Yes, and you ended with that the film with Michael Eisner and the characters in the movie theater where they played a trailer for you of an upcoming attraction and things like that. That was great. I loved studios back then. Yeah,
well, and it was all. I mean, Universal Studios Hollywood has the ultimate backlot tour because they literally have the real backlot there, and that is my favorite attraction in that park. And this used to be kind of this coast's answer to that, but not so much anymore.
And sadly enough, even Universal's backlot tour is much smaller than it used to be.
Well, yeah, it has turned more into a theme parky attraction now.
Right. But it used to take you all the way down and drop you off where Transformers is, and you used to not be able to walk back there.
Right.
So, but, going back to the actual topic, Hollywood Studios, congratulations on 25 years. I'm still having fun going there.
They did
still got the best tower.
They did do a fireworks show that evening.
Okay.
Had a special cupcake.
Okay, well, cupcakes are good.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, that was taking place during the big press event for primarily for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but also sort of officially rolling out My Magic Plus and FastPass Plus and all that.
Was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train? See, I always want to call it the Seven Dwarves Mine Train.
Right. No, in Disney speak, it's dwarfs.
Yeah, dwarfs. It feels so weird saying that. The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is New Fantasyland is now done.
Yeah, well, so this was weird part number one. Invite the media, hundreds of media from all over the world, and announce that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train isn't actually opening for another couple weeks.
Yeah,
it was really bizarre.
All right.
But yeah, so they did, and they unveiled it first there officially, and then it did officially open a couple of weeks later, completing New Fantasyland finally.
It was so fun watching you ride that ride.
Yeah, that silly video of me on the ride that I put up. It's one of those rides that's hard to describe and like compare to other things because in all reality, it's kind of a kiddie ride. It's a barnstormer kind of roller coaster.
It's just as much as the backlot tour at Studios is a ride out to Catastrophe Canyon. This is a roller coaster ride out to the show building,
right,
that has the dwarfs in it.
Which is, and that is the awesome part. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm going around this cute little roller coaster. It kind of rocks back and forth. It's fun. And then, oh my God, these animatronics are amazing.
And they are.
Those are the coolest animatronics I've probably ever seen. That was, you look at the old Snow White Dark Rider, the one that's still at Disneyland, and you just want to laugh at it.
Right. But they did include some of the old Snow White.
Yes, there's a nice bonus at the end of the ride with a new animatronic as well as a lot of the old ones in her cottage, and they're dancing around and all that, which is a great sort of tribute to the old. But those dwarfs are. I want to stop inside that mine and just sit there for like half an hour just staring at them.
Right. Yeah, they look really nice. They're I forget what the term is for the movement where it stops and then it kind of fades back. It's natural movement, and I can't remember what that term is. But boy, they're really getting good at these animatronics.
Yeah, really, really smooth. And from what I understand, the big sort of technological jump here is the animated faces that are on it. It's not sort of the real physical faces that just kind of flap their mouths. It's a fully animated one that they have gone back and used the original movie as reference and animated new facial expressions, and it's kind of like from a basic concept Madame Leota or Buzz Lightyear in the queue for that, but a much more advanced version of that. And when they were developing these, it apparently was Tom Staggs, chairman of Disney Parks and Resorts, his call to go in that direction because they were mocking things up and they didn't think that they could pull it off and really make them that believable and lifelike. And at some point he was just like, you know what, we're Imagineering, let's do it, make it happen. And it did, and it's amazing.
Yeah, when I think it's Doc turns and goes, hi ho, that turn that he does and putting his hand up to his face and then doing the hi ho face, it's jaw-dropping.
Yeah, it feels like, you can have, obviously the movie is many decades old. It's the beginnings of Disney feature animation, and it looks it looks good for its age, but if you were to just sort of project that on a wall in an attraction, that would look lame. And then, you create sort of physical 3D versions of things, and they don't match that 2D look. This is a perfect blending of bringing that original hand-drawn 2D look into a 3D space and making it lifelike and believable.
And speaking of projecting things on the wall, when you're going up that lift hill and they're doing the high home march,
right,
and they're projecting the shadows on the walls, that was brilliant.
Yeah, it looks great too. They went back to the original movie for that as well and matched all the movements and sort of the weight of the characters to make sure that they're marching up, and you can almost individually identify those silhouettes as they're going up alongside you, and home from work you go.
And they got the weight right. However, if you use FastPass Plus, it's half the weight.
Yes, exactly. Not that way. Speaking of the queue, though, there are sort of interesting interactive elements in the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train queue.
Again, there are no elephants in them. Those are Jungle Cruise.
Actually, there might be. There is the one feature where there's the little carved woodland creatures. Maybe they could fit an elephant in there.
There you go. Okay.
One of the queue elements or elephants is a water thing where you put your hands under the carvings of creatures and the water comes spurting out, and I don't know.
Do they also have stepping tones?
No.
No, okay. Because this is very much like the conducting with light thing that they did over in the Journey into Imagination thing, right?
Yeah, kind of. You put your hand under there and it plays different musical tones, and in the process your hand gets full of water and you could splash everybody and annoy people, and yeah.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I feel like Disney takes steps forward when it comes to interactivity and cues, and then they take giant steps backwards. Like these elements are just, they're there to vaguely amuse you, but they just hold up the line, and they're not that entertaining, and eh.
Did you do a video of the queue?
I did.
Okay, because I haven't seen that one yet, so I have to go back and...
Yeah, in fact, I was standing right there amidst the interactive elements talking to one of the ride's show producers, and that was when I asked her about the swinging of the cars that had been talked about for years now.
Right.
The vehicles are supposed to rock back and forth, and her response was, yeah, I don't really feel it.
I like it.
Okay. Thank you for being honest.
That's nice.
She said other people have felt it, but I haven't felt it.
What it did was it gave them a legitimate way of saying that this new ride rocks.
That is true, to the point where they have that great hip-hop commercial with the dwarves wearing sunglasses.
I don't watch TV, so I haven't seen that one.
And when you combine hip-hop and the phrase hi-ho... Yeah.
Whoa. I walked right past that one. I did not see that coming at all.
It's a bizarre commercial. It reminds me of that Mickey show that was at Disneyland briefly, where he said, what was it? Drink up me homies, yo-ho.
Ooh, that is not good.
Yeah. I don't think Disney fully thinks out their ideas sometimes, but...
are these little mistakes making Bob Iger, like, grumpy?
I don't know if Iger was grumpy, but Grumpy was certainly there, along with his feline friend.
Now, see, that the thing, of course, we're talking about Grumpy Cat when he came out and visited, but when that picture of Grumpy Cat with Grumpy at the wishing well,
right, at Disneyland,
is one of the best thought out photos I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was really good. And since then, since that became such a phenomenon, now Grumpy Cat seems to appear at every Disney thing ever.
Right. Yeah. And eventually they're going to make the Grumpy Cat movie. It's going to be Disney, and
they actually are working on a Grumpy Cat movie.
I know.
Not Disney, but yeah.
Yeah. It's, they're going to buy him eventually, and then they'll have little, catamatronics running around.
It's actually a she.
Yes, sorry, by her.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, Grumpy Cat was there. I met Grumpy Cat. She was grumpy.
Well, that's good.
Actually, she was pretty nice. She was a nice little cat.
Was she purring?
She kind of has this little grunting noise that she makes.
Get away from me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Be gone, strange man.
So, yeah, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, that's the end of New Fantasyland, and is also sort of the end of anything major for Disney in the foreseeable future.
You mean in the way of like attractions?
Yeah, we have Avatar on the horizon, and that's all we know at this point. I mean, I'm sure they're working on other things, but it's a rare occasion in Disney that neither Disneyland nor Walt Disney World are working on anything. Well,
we have Disneyland's 60th anniversary coming up. Don't you think something is going to come of that?
Certainly, something. But for just like right now, like if you were like, oh, I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, I gotcha.
I don't know. Like,
okay.
I have not. Yes, I'm sure in the very near future we'll learn about some other exciting things. But yeah,
yeah, okay. And I was just thinking, it's the year in review going to be just a 15-minute throwaway show for the next
Yeah, 6 months from now, I'll be like, oh, yeah, here's some movies we didn't see, and yeah, that's it.
Three segues and 2 movies we didn't see. Thank you. Good night.
Perfect. But back to the Mine Train event. It felt like, yes, we have the Mine Train, but we really want to show off our $1 billion My Magic Plus program.
Oh, yeah, we've tried to talk about that. Now, FastPass Plus, Jeremiah uses that while he's out there fairly often and likes it.
For the most part, it is a good thing. It's still new, and it is forever in testing as far as Disney is concerned. And because of that, there are quite frequently some bugs that take place.
It's tough to be a bug.
It is, although I don't think that needs any fast passes because nobody cares about that. But yeah, it's a great system when it works, that you can go online, you can book your rides and shows and parade viewing and all kinds of things in advance, and then you show up and it's just sort of ready for you, and you can make changes on the fly and book additional things throughout the day, and all of that is a wonderful concept. But it's the most frustrating thing in the world when you sign up for something 30 days out and then day of comes and all of a sudden it has vanished and nobody believes you.
That doesn't happen.
It has happened many a time, not only to myself, but to others as well, particularly for new experiences. It seems like they have a problem when they add something new to the system, and the first day that it's available, everything just goes crazy.
Okay, well, I've just figured it out then. I know now why Disney is not planning to do anything new, because every time they add something new, it causes FastPass Plus to malfunction.
Yeah, then just don't do anything. That works.
Exactly, and it'll operate perfectly. And
exactly.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you could look at and say they really should have spent all that money on new rides, new parks, new lands, new whatevers. But for the casual tourists out here that come once in a lifetime, it is definitely going to be a blessing for them to be able to sort of schedule a few things in advance and know with almost certainty that they'll be able to hit their, certain things that they absolutely wanted to do without waiting.
You can see the text that says, it says, click here to choose the time that you might be able to ride this attraction.
Exactly. And I've even seen a thing where, and I don't know how it has showed up. It's something, maybe some part of a testing or whatever, but sort of this ability for them to put in a global anytime, anywhere fast pass into your system, where it's like you have the ones that you booked, but then somehow one shows up that's like, yeah, you can just show up somewhere, sometime, and we'll let you right in.
So they just like a push notification almost. It just kind of appears.
And if that has a real methodology behind it, where you get a perk like that for doing something, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's if you go over and you swipe your magic band at one of the attractions that has low attendance,
right? Then they
reward you possibly by giving you a fast pass for something else.
And that is sort of one of the ideas that they wanted with this, was the ability to, as you said, sort of push out the notion that, hey, you're over here, but Thunder Mountain only has a 5-minute wait right now. Why don't you go over there? Like, to give you that sort of heads up, through technology, so that you can better spend your time in the park instead of running around between. The old fast pass system, the one that's still at Disneyland, you have to, let's go get it way over here, and you arrive at Space Mountain and it says, you come back 8 hours from now, and you're like, I don't want to do that. So then you go way over to Indiana Jones, or you go, you're running all over the park. This centralizes it, and at least you know what is and is not available, either from your phone or from one of the many kiosks throughout the park.
Gosh, it seems like Disney might actually know what they're doing.
They're getting there. Little by little. And then there's Magic Bands, of course, which, what was it? Up until recently, there was no actual reason to use a Magic Band, because everything you could do would be on the RFID chip embedded in your park ticket. Mm-hmm. But recently, and I can't remember what it is, they added something exclusive that you had to use the Magic Band for.
You can't meet Anna and Elsa unless you have a Magic Band.
Right, probably. And of course, now they're beginning to roll out special limited edition Magic Bands, and you can imagine where that's going.
Did you get the Star Wars Weekends one?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Didn't care. In fact, I have a Magic Band, and I have yet to actually use it.
Oh, really?
I've just been using my annual pass and, tap the card against the thing. That way I don't have to wear a sweaty rubber thing around my wrist all day, and yeah.
The rubber thing isn't sweaty, dude. It's you.
A sweat-inducing rubber thing. When it's like 600,000 degrees out in the summer here, I do not want to be wearing that.
Hey, you chose to live in Florida.
That is very true. So, lots of. What would you think if this whole system went to Disneyland? Good thing, bad thing?
I haven't used it, so I can't say.
Okay, so let's put a use in this. When you go to the park, what do you normally do? Do you walk around? Do you ride something? Are you there to see a show?
It really varies each time. So, at thinking a little bit ahead, so if I were to go and say record an episode of Window to the Magic, and I said to myself, okay, I want to ride, say, Pirates of the Caribbean, even though it doesn't have Fast Pass.
But it will.
Yeah, exactly. So I could go in and just standing out in the Esplanade, I could look and go, oh, okay, I can ride Pirates at 5:15, so I know that I have 20 minutes to get there. That could be handy for me.
Now, what if, in order to get that reservation, you had to book it 3 weeks in advance?
That, for me, wouldn't be handy.
I think that's where Disneyland is going to become difficult for the system to work, because it's really designed for travelers, and locals are going to want to book day of, an hour before, 3 hours before, and by the time that hits, a lot of it is already gone.
Well, and Jeremiah, actually, you hear him on one of his shows as he's leaving PhilharMagic. He's talking and he's resetting his FastPass Plus. He's like, oh, okay, well, we're going to go over and ride Space Mountain because I can get a FastPass for right now.
Right. And that's when it works really well. But I've also had cases like where I went to Epcot a couple of days ago, and just before I left the house, I was like, you know what, I want to ride Test Track tonight. And I go on there, and every ride in Epcot is already full.
They have a fix for that. That if you go to the attraction, get behind the last person standing in line, and they will let you eventually ride it.
That is true.
Yeah.
But that takes away from all the fun of being able to go click, 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 and
you have to look at all of the queue, and it's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, who would want to appreciate all that hard work?
I know, and if you're with people, you have to talk to them.
No, we can't have that.
Yeah,
that's no good. You want to stare at my phone the whole time,
right? Yeah, I saw a thing the other day that said, "Are you going to go and stare at your phone anywhere interesting this weekend?"
Yeah, that's pretty much what the theme parks are turning into.
Absolutely,
or staring at someone else's iPad.
That works too. Let's not get started on that one. Next topic.
Speaking of doing things on screens.
Oh Lord. Could have just gone to the next topic.
Yeah, I could have, but I didn't.
Go ahead.
Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel Edition announced.
Yes.
Did I know you don't play video games, but did Calvin play Disney Infinity?
Are you getting the impression that I'm just no fun? No, actually, he didn't. On this one, he skipped this one as well.
Probably because you would have to buy into like 100 figures in order to get the fullest.
Exactly. He knew that it was a cash cow.
It is.
And he was like, I'm not even going to go there.
And now even more so with adding Marvel, which I have not gotten hands-on with the Marvel version yet, but I've had a number of people who have and have said it's tremendously fun. And it seems like it's going to be a good success for Disney Interactive, the company that prior to Disney Infinity had very, very little success. So it's a good thing.
Hey, for those of you who like video games, this will be fun.
And lots of collectibles to buy, a lot of little stylized Marvel characters, and in addition, there is more Disney coming up as well. I'm particularly excited about the inclusion of some Darkwing Duck elements to it.
Yes. See, and that would be the only thing I would do is if I happen to be walking through a toy store or wherever they sell these things. I don't even know where I would go to buy them. But if I happen to see a character that I really liked, I might buy the character, but it would just be to put it on my shelf.
Right. Well, they are good enough for that. I mean, they're nice, good renditions of sort of artistic variations of characters that are these great little vinyl figures that, I mean, they easily could sell as collectibles just on their own.
Yeah. See, and that would be the extent of it for me. But so they just announced this whole redo. So this is like they're going to start expanding into the whole Marvel world with this.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, that leaves everybody thinking, well, if they're doing Marvel, maybe they'll do Star Wars down the line.
And of course they will.
Yeah. I mean, they put a lightsaber at the end of like if you unlocked everything in the first Disney Infinity, you got a lightsaber at the end to wield. So I think that's their little nod of things to come.
Naturally, at the end of 1, they had a lightsaber, which means Marvel 2.0 was, or the 2.0 of Infinity was Marvel.
Right.
That makes perfect sense.
Exactly. But there's other Star Wars to be looking forward to at the moment.
I was going to say they probably won't release Star Wars Disney Infinity until somebody thinks about putting a new movie out.
Yeah, well, that would be good timing next year because the cast of Star Wars Episode 7 was announced and the universe went crazy.
It was as if millions of people screamed out in pleasure and were suddenly, well, not silenced because it went on for quite a while.
Yes.
Actually.
I mean, it was a lot of confirmation of things everybody already knew.
Sure.
The original trio returning, one of them since getting injured.
Well, I was just about to say, I was going to say in a minute that they broke Han Solo.
They did. For something like 8 weeks, he'll be out.
Yeah, it's he can do the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, but he can't use a door.
Yeah, those Millennium Falcon doors are killer, apparently.
Well, let's not go there.
No, not quite. But I loved the cast aside, the first headline that I read was so sensationalized. It was Harrison Ford crushed on Star Wars set.
Yeah,
maybe even if it was just he was not crushed.
He was crushed about the whole situation.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I'm sure the money people were also like, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
I read that J.J. Abrams is wanting to push the movie back into 2016, and Disney's like, no, we've done that already once. That's not happening.
Yeah, he's now out for 2 months, too.
Right, so...
Yeah.
But he'll be there in the movie eventually. Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and then all of the other people, some of which are unknowns and some of which are very well-knowns.
And Grumpy Cat.
Yes. Grumpy Cat is replacing Yoda.
Oh, all of a sudden I had there is no do, only, or there is no try, only do or do not. I was trying to come up with a grumpy thing about that, and I'm not fast enough, darn it all.
And you sounded Russian for some reason.
I know.
I think the big surprise of the casting announcement was Andy Serkis. Nobody saw that coming.
Well, it was better than Andy Dick. I mean, there was those two choices, right?
Yes, that would be tremendously better. Nobody knows what any of these people are playing, though, and every time any of them are asked, they all give the same response, half jokingly saying, "I'd be shot if I told you."
Right. Well, what do you mean half joking?
Well, I think they literally will be shot.
Yeah, I think they will get fired from the movie if they admit who they are.
And
they
executed.
They should just all say, "I'm a Jedi."
Yeah, right.
And then that would be it.
That would. So that is on the way, of course. And here is let me put in my plea to the universe to stop posting Star Wars Episode 7 spoilers. Just stop. If you want to read it, keep it to yourself, but don't share it. Just go away.
Okay. And I'll just look at you and say, no freaking way is that ever going to happen.
I know, but at least I did my tiny little part.
Yeah, that's just,
Like I understand some people want to read that and some people don't. But in the world of social media, those who want to read it trump those who don't because you can't avoid it.
Right. Didn't Facebook just put in a way for you to block out terms now?
That would be interesting, and then you could just block Episode 7 completely.
Right.
That would be good.
It was one of the social media platforms just put in a way for you to block certain things so that if you didn't want to find out about the new, whatever it is, the Once Upon a Time, or whatever you're following, you can block that term, and anybody who mentions it,
oh, that's good.
It just won't show on your page.
That. I had not heard of that. I will have to look into that because, yes, it is clearly impossible to stop everybody from saying, check out these new, spy set photos of the Millennium Falcon.
Right. And you could just block out the word Star Wars, and then everything would be fine.
And then suddenly I couldn't do my job anymore.
This episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Grumpy Cat.
Is brought to you by not covering Star Wars.
Actually, it's brought to you by Ozell Soda.
There you go. Are you on the trolley?
I've actually fallen off the wagon. Is that close?
I don't think that's soda.
Oh, Okay. No, I've seen this. I know that they've revived Ozell Sola
Han Solo
Soda.
Soda.
Yes, so that and it's supporting the Walt Disney's Birthplace project,
Yeah, we
right?
had. I guess we probably talked about this on the last year in review, right? The project to restore the Walt Disney Birthplace in Chicago.
Absolutely.
So their additional efforts on that was to reach back into the Disney history and sort of bring back this soda that never was.
And have you had any?
I have, because it just randomly showed up at my door.
You know, it is good to be Ricky.
Yeah, I was I got an email from one of the Walt Disney Birthplace people, and they were like, expect something soon. I was like, okay. And then suddenly there's this massive, heavy, clanking around box at my door, and it's good. It's good soda.
Okay, I'm not bitter.
Well, neither is the soda.
Oh, good. Is it good?
It is. There's a vanilla flavor and a root beer flavor, and they've taken some liberties. I think originally Ozell was really a jelly company, but soda was somewhere mixed in there. But regardless, they sort of just took the name, brought it back, and with the history involved, and made some tasty sodas out of it. It's rather pricey to purchase because they're glass bottles. It's heavy to ship and all that.
Sure.
But if you got a few extra bucks and you want to say all the money from it goes toward the Walt Disney Birthplace, so it's not like you're just buying soda; you're helping this piece of Disney history exist.
Oh, okay. So everybody go out and buy a case of Ozell soda.
You will not be disappointed. Your wallet might, but you won't.
Right. Now
Later.
Now that we've had soda, you see, if you have too much soda, it causes you to stay up all night, right?
And you could do that once again at
The
Disney.
perfect time to do that would be during the Rock Your Disney Side event.
Do you rock your Disney side?
Not in public. But I was at this party this year.
So was I, but
For a
my Coast's version.
For a couple of hours.
Yeah, same here.
I got in line to get in the parking lot.
Okay.
At 11:30, well, about 11:20 p.m.
Uh-huh.
And finally parked my car just before midnight.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah. And then went into the park and did a little bit of Mad Tea Party, went over to Disneyland, saw the stuff going on in front of the castle there, and then left. And that took 3 hours.
Yeah, Disneyland's version of these 24-hour parties have definitely been bigger and more attended than the Walt Disney World ones.
This was busy. It was, it wasn't the first one.
Right.
Because with the first
that was a
one,
disaster.
Yeah, it was just nobody had ever heard of it before, and they're like, absolutely, I want to try this because it'll never happen again.
You know how that goes with Disney. We're first time, only time, once in a lifetime event that will duplicate 60 more times.
Exactly, yeah. Buy your merchandise. You don't want to miss out on this once in a lifetime opportunity.
Electrical parade glowing away forever.
Right, yeah. And that's when the electrical parade comes back to Disneyland eventually, and you know darn well it's going to do it.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, really?
People are going to take all those collectible light bulbs and just throw them at everybody.
I have 10 of those light bulbs. But I'm not throwing them at anybody because they're very cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yes, 24 hours in a row, same day. That is way too long.
Out here, they put a nice spin on it. I don't remember what specific extra entertainment they added to Disneyland's version, but out here, it was sort of they called it the heroes versus villains thing. And so like during the day, they had all the good guys out, and then late at night at about 2 a.m, they swapped all of those meet and greets out for their villain counterparts. And that was pretty cool.
That is very cool. I didn't get far enough into the park to see any of that, but I do know that the villains were hanging out in front of the castle.
Okay.
They had a DJ, and then they had a little stage, and they had like Don Carnage.
Yes, I wish. Oh, that's the first time he's appeared in the park for ever.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? What? And I had to ask because I was like, why are there villains out? It seems to be just villains. And somebody said, oh, it's the heroes and villains themed event this time. And I said, I thought it was the Rock Your Disney side.
Right.
thing. And apparently they're not marketing very clearly.
It's the whatever makes any vague sort of sense party.
Yeah. What do you like? Yes, that's what it's called.
Right.
Yes.
Did you notice a lot of people showing up Disney bounding?
Yeah, people do that at Disneyland all the time.
Right.
Yeah, so
Here it was a noticeable increase because it happens here somewhat, a little bit here every day, but it was a tremendous amount of people that showed up out here for it.
Yeah, we've got so many locals around here that
true.
just do it all the time. Yeah,
but in addition, out here they had it was sort of a little villains pre-parade. Which went through twice, and that was a really nice addition. It was the usual assortment of villains, but they brought out some rare ones as well. Oogie Boogie came walking through, which was only the second time he's ever appeared at Walt Disney World, so that was pretty awesome.
that is cool.
He didn't meet and greet, but once the Hercules group came out, it was Hades and Meg came out. The line to meet them, because they didn't come out till 2 a.m. The line had started like 4 hours prior and had already capped off before they even came out.
Wow. So they had cast members at the end saying you can't get in line?
Yeah, because it ended at 6 a.m. and the line was longer than 6 a.m., so they had to cut it off.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
No kidding.
And then, in addition, they had something that I almost missed completely was an opportunity very late at night to, if you stumbled across some representatives from Walt Disney Studios, they would give you a timed return ticket to meet the Angelina Jolie version of Maleficent.
I saw that your interaction with that on the video. That was cool.
She did a phenomenal job. She had the right cadence and the right sort of just subtleness to her performance that was really spot on. I don't think they could have found somebody more Angelina Jolie like if they wanted to.
Yeah, slightly slimy, slightly sexy, just dead on to what you would want it to be.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I don't know that they're going to bring that version of the character out ever again. So, I mean, I know they did that out at California Adventure as well in front of the preview thingy, the extended movie preview.
I was just about to say, yeah, but the only reason they would bring a Maleficent character out is if there was a movie going on, with her as a pivotal character.
Yeah, that little thing, and we can go ahead and jump ahead to that. Did you see Maleficent?
Wicked 2, you bet. I went and saw Maleficent. I saw it in 3D. Okay, all of our listeners right now are passed out. Did you see that? It was as if millions of voices were suddenly silenced.
Or just ours.
Yes, it was something. But yes, I saw it, and wow, it was good.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't like it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fabulous. It was just a cool enough spin on the original to where I was engaged the whole time. I did not find myself going, okay, so how long has it been? And and the 3D
it was a pretty short movie. So.
It was immersive. It wasn't in your face.
Right.
And I laughed at one point at a point that nobody else laughed at, but when we find out that the prince is just useless,
yes,
I was like, and he's been marginalized. And, luckily I was sitting in the back of the row or the back of the theater. And nobody really paid attention, but
yeah, I can't say that I hold the same opinion of that film. I felt like they changed everything from Sleeping Beauty just for the sake of making it different.
Yes. The fact that they changed the three little fairies names to Manny, Mo, and Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Just arbitrarily. Just
right.
Like, like every step of the way where you thought one thing was going to happen. Oh, we're just going to throw a little twist in there. Just because. Just why not? Yeah. But I mean, more so than that, what really I was constantly watching with a sense of hope that it would come together in the end and be the grand evil Maleficent that everyone would expect it to be, and not this lame redemption story and making you feel sorry for her and making her not a villain but a hero, and that didn't happen so much.
Let's see, it wasn't lame. It was
but
well
she wasn't
put together.
Maleficent anymore. That's my big issue. It was if that movie was not Maleficent, if it was just fairy movie, I would have thought it was a good movie, but it wasn't Maleficent. It was not the same character anymore.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that it's people's opinion. They're basically saying that the original movie was from one perspective, and it's just like the joke I made at the beginning, Wicked 2. The in the Wizard of Oz movie, the Wicked Witch of the West was a wicked person. In Wicked, she wasn't.
Right.
And in this one, it's the exact same thing, which
Right.
is why I call it Wicked 2.
And I agree, and I hate that idea completely.
Oh, see,
I don't like the idea of taking a villain and not making them a villain anymore. If they're going to be a villain, show me their evilness. At least give me a little bit of it. Like, the only evilness in the entirety of Maleficent was the initial curse. Everything after that was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I loved where she walked up to the window and she's like, "You're an ugly little beastie." I mean, that was just classic.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, and obviously we're getting a little spoilery here. If anyone out there hasn't seen this already, too bad.
I was gonna say, yeah, you lost.
Yeah, too bad. So near the end of the movie, what really, really killed it for me was the dragon.
Why?
Because it wasn't Maleficent.
See, the only problem I had would because basically the jump that I made on this was that what we had seen before was a cartoon version of that dragon. And yeah, it didn't look like the Maleficent dragon.
No,
but
that's fine. I don't. The look was fine, but it was not. I mean, it was Maleficent supposed to turn into the dragon, not her stupid bird henchman guy.
I know, and he was funny.
I actually enjoyed that character. I think they did a good job taking a pretty basic character in the movie and making it something much more.
Yeah.
But the little, she just flips her hand and into a dragon. And
yes,
that's so lame.
Oh,
that's so
loved
lazy.
It. I loved it. It showed just how wonderfully magical she was,
or just lame.
Oh no. I don't know if you saw the original script treatment for this, but the other version was just having Billy Crystal run through going, "Have fun storming the castle."
You know what? I would have enjoyed that more.
I thought that this was a much better version. It really, I really enjoyed this film.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree then. I will not be watching it again anytime soon.
All right. And, I actually saw a movie, so there you go.
And see, we had a conversation and everything.
Don't get used to it, people.
So have you've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I saw it at D23. I saw the preview of the first episode, and that's the only thing I've ever seen.
That was probably a good idea for a while, because the show was not so good for quite a long time.
I was going to say, it got better, though, because
it did.
People stopped complaining.
Well, and so here's where, it got progressively better as it went along. The characters are still kind of lame, but they're getting there. But by the end of the season, it tied into Captain America 2 when some major events happened in that movie, and it affected the show. And then in turn, by the end of the very last episode of the season, what happened in that episode has now affected the direction the movies will go.
Right. So that's that plan ahead thing we were talking about before.
Yeah, well, it's sort of, because I guess the TV show people heard about what was going on in Captain America 2 and were like, uh-oh, we got to rewrite. But, yeah. So they figured it out, and they got it to work. And, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was in there quite a lot toward the end of the season, which really helped, because a lot of the other actors on that show are not so good.
Okay.
So that's what, it got a huge boost at the end, and I'm hoping that carries forward into the next season.
All right. Yeah, it's a TV thing. I don't do TV.
Yeah.
And it's based on the Marvel characters, and I don't do Marvel.
Right,
so,
of course. But if it was the Agents of Maleficent...
Yeah, well, then, I'd be all over it. I'd have to go out and buy a TV and start watching movies. No, I wouldn't do it either. Yeah.
But you've seen Star Wars, right?
I have.
And had you ever been out to Star Wars weekends out here?
I have not.
Well, there's been a part of Star Wars weekends for many, many years that it concluded each day that divided the universe between people who thought it was absolutely hilarious and people who thought it was the worst thing ever created. And that was the hyperspace hoopla and the dance-off with the Star Wars stars, which I'm sure you've seen pieces of on YouTube.
I have, and I've heard it because Jeremiah's recorded it and things like that. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore.
Whoops.
In an attempt to bring a little more respect, I think, to the Star Wars universe. Now that Disney is moving forward with all these new movies and everything, they canned the silly, shaking everybody's rear ends on stage moment at the end of the day and replaced it with a very tasteful and slightly boring show and then some fireworks.
Yeah, but it stars Anna and Elsa, and that's,
yeah. The Elsa Sith Lord comes out.
It's, I can't remember the name of the planet. Hoth. They're from Hoth.
Right.
That's what it is.
That is why Hoth is frozen, because Elsa had a temper tantrum.
But basketball is a peaceful planet.
What?
You missed that entirely.
I did. I have
you?
no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm not telling you what that is.
Great.
Somebody, you got to figure that out, or one of your listeners should send you in. But okay, I'm not telling you what that is.
I'm sure I'll get an email.
Yeah, you could probably just Google basketball as a peaceful planet. But.
Okay. That aside, Star Wars weekends, aside from sort of that disappointment at the end of the day for a lot of people who really loved that part, they did manage to bring somebody very big in the Star Wars universe who had never been to Star Wars weekends before.
And according to this list of things that we're reading through, that is Maleficent.
Yes. Maleficent is now Darth Vader's father.
Yes. I am your mother, Luke.
No, father, no. Mark Hamill. Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Disney and Star Wars royalty.
Yes, Luke Skywalker himself. But the highlight of this was not even so much Luke Skywalker, but his voicing the Joker.
Yes, that was cool.
It was 3 days of Mark Hamill's special conversation, just him and James Arnold Taylor, who voiced Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars show, and they just talked on stage. And I should note that FastPass Plus was available for that and went very well. That was very handy. But yeah, I was there for the first day, and when they did sort of a Twitter interaction, bringing in some questions people had asked, and the guy said, "Can you do a conversation between the Joker and Luke Skywalker?" And it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, Mark Hamill got a letter from Warner Brothers afterwards saying, "Yeah, don't do that anymore."
Are you kidding?
No, because I had recorded that first day's thing and put it on YouTube, and it absolutely exploded across the internet. Last I checked, it had like almost 1 million views on that video. And I wasn't there for Sunday, but somebody let me know that in Sunday's conversation with him, he mentioned that on stage when Joker came up. He was like, "Yeah, I got a cease and desist letter."
That is just wrong.
Yeah. They were like, because he doesn't do the Joker voice anymore. He stopped after years and years of doing it. He stopped recently. So they were like, we would just like to remind you that you are no longer that character.
Yeah, but he's talking about the history of his life.
I think the issue is that he did a whole scene as opposed to just an example. Yeah.
You people suck.
But he was, sort of smiling and joking when he said that, so who knows? But
well, he's the Joker.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, that was pretty awesome, as was the entire conversation, hearing all the stories and just, it's Mark Hamill, and of course he's looking better than he has in years because he's getting ready to film for the movie Episode 7.
Yes. And he's doing his best to stay away from all swinging doors and
yeah. Exactly. They'll just string him up on Hoth upside down for a while.
That's uncomfortable when you do that. All the blood rushes to your head.
Indeed.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah.
I can't think of any way to transition from Mark Hamill to Animal Kingdom.
No, not at all. Unless, because Star Wars is a big property for Disney and Avatar's on the way. And yeah, no. I'll just stop.
Yes, please do. Harambe Nights. What is this?
Harambe Nights is something they announced fairly recently, and now it is happening on weekends at Animal Kingdom, a special after-hours, hard-ticketed event in which you get to see a new, the Candlelight Processional, the Epcot thing they do every year.
Yeah.
It's a version of that, but the Lion King.
Huh?
Exactly. It's a celebrity narrator helps tell the story of the Lion King, accompanied by a live orchestra and live singers, and they kind of go through, and you spend half the show looking at clips from the movie.
Okay. Well, I actually find myself right now wanting to go see this.
It's a whole night, and this is part of Disney's sort of, and it does relate to Avatar. It's a step towards making Animal Kingdom a full day park, bringing some nighttime entertainment to Animal Kingdom, which it never really has had before. So, away from the rides, away from the animals, away from all that, they've bringing their own sort of entertainment to the streets. And so there's a little pre-street party with a band playing and a lot of food, and then you go into the theater and you watch this show, and then you come out of the theater and spend another couple hours with a dance party and really good food and open bar and yeah.
You are speaking my language. I was just going to ask you if there was food involved, if there was a dinner situation going on. You mentioned food not once, but twice.
Right.
And then you said there was an open bar.
Yes, and so if you the show I did not find to be particularly great, but the food was fantastic. It was, Disney will roll out these buffets sometimes, and you never know what you're going to get. Could be stuff that sits under a heat lamp for like 17 hours, and it's terrible. But this food was freshly prepared, was excellent, and yes, the open bar as well. So.
I'm sending a text message to Jeremiah right now. You need to go to this, and
it is pricey. It's like $120 to go to.
Oh my!
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess because it's got a bunch of food and stuff like that.
It's about a 4, maybe 5 hour event overall, and I would say you're paying for the food and the drinks, and then you get a show.
Okay. Well, it sounds like fun.
Yeah, ultimately, the evening was a success. I just wish the show had been less staring at clips from the Lion King Blu-ray.
Yeah, they could do better than that.
But I mean, so there's something that could have really been cool. The live orchestra played the music, the score from the film, while the clips were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And unto itself, that sounds like a great concept. You're hearing live music while watching the visual, but the sound effects and the dialogue from the movie were still playing. So the music got drowned out, and you forgot that it was a live orchestra. You just felt like you were watching the movie. I feel like if they had muted all the other stuff and made you just focus on the music, you could have really appreciated that aspect of it more.
Yeah, see, we do that out here. The Pacific Symphony does, they're going to do it here fairly soon with Fantasia. And they did it with the original Pirates a year or two back. But they bring in Disney, and that's built into Animal Kingdom already. But they bring in a huge mixing board and the whole shot, and they play the film, sound effects, dialogue, and everything, but they've removed the music. And the Pacific Symphony plays the score in time with the film. And yes, they're so good that you lose the fact that you're not listening to the soundtrack, that it's actually being played by the orchestra. But I think that's cool that they're that good.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. Except that I have a feeling a lot of people just sort of leave completely forgetting about the fact that there was an orchestra there at all. Okay. In this situation, because they're kind of tucked off to the side and there's not a lot of lighting on them, and it's, I don't know, it didn't quite work as well for me as I'd hoped. But the overall, the experience is definitely a good one, particularly because the food was just that darn good.
Oh, that is nice. I like that.
Yep.
All right.
So nighttime coming to Animal Kingdom, certainly little by little, but also over at Downtown Disney, becoming Disney Springs.
Yes. There's a bridge being built out there.
There's definitely some waterway access there. It's little by little. There's some massive parking garage that is the slowest construction project ever.
Well, you don't want them to go cheap on something that is going to be multi-story.
I guess it's still pretty slow. But that aside, they did open a new store recently called the Marketplace Co-op, which had a bunch of merchandise that had already been released at Disneyland like a month prior.
Okay, well, that's good.
Have you seen all that cool like Adventureland merchandise, all the logo stuff out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, finally, after everyone's like posting it all over Twitter and everything, it finally showed up here, and my bank account was not too happy about it.
I haven't bought any of it. I just go look at it. See, I can go over there and just visit.
Right.
Yeah.
Just pretend it's yours. Just
right.
Hold it up. Put some food on the plate, eat off of it, put it right back down.
Yeah, I'll go buy a corn dog. I'll walk over, pick up a plate, set it on it.
I wonder if people do that.
No, I severely doubt it.
probably not. But yeah, so that store out here is open now. It has a lot of other. It's kind of an interesting store. It's that is just one corner of it. They've got multiple. It's like a mini mall. It's like different stores within a store.
Well, it's a co-op.
Well, right.
Yeah. And that is kind of in the definition of co-op.
Well, yeah, but you know how Disney names stuff that isn't really what they say it is.
That's true.
This is actually true. Although I guess technically a co-op should be independent stores that all come together. This is all like a bunch of Disney stores within a bigger Disney store.
Okay, fair enough.
It still works. And they say that they will be changing those concepts and rotating out the merchandise and things at some point.
Sure, and they will. Frozen hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, it will become the Frozen co-op.
Correct. So you'll have Anna over there, Elsa over there. You'll have...
Speaking of which, actually, they did, over at Princess Fairy Tale Hall recently, evict the other princess that was in there with Anna and Elsa, and they split the two up, so now you meet them independently.
Oh, I'm sure that it wasn't a big-name princess, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was just Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, see? I mean, she's what? Not important.
No, not especially with the Maleficent movie having just come out, whatever.
Right. I mean, why would you? I mean, they could just take her and, like, I don't know, put her in Town Square or something.
That actually has been the good sort of result of all of this. I don't know if it's a permanent change, but Snow White was out in Town Square just hanging out. That
is perfect theming.
Good, it's good. She was like playing Duck Duck Goose with some people and just wandering around, and yeah. We don't get that normally at Walt Disney World. Everybody's stuck in a closet somewhere.
Oh, see, our characters just kind of walk around and do things, and yeah.
Yeah, you can walk into Disneyland and be like, oh, yeah, there's Mickey Mouse. That's cool.
Right. Yeah, I walked past the Carthay Circle one time, and Goofy was just kind of strolling along.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. You just walk by, hey, gee, what's up?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, Frozen did get added to Soundsational.
Yeah. Actually had a couple of things that have come out to Disneyland here. So after we talk about this, let's talk about the new show going into the Golden Horseshoe too, because it's not on this list.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yes.
But yes, they took a Christmas float, which is the float that Mickey and Minnie skate on, and they put a little rise thing on the back and took off the fences. And they put Anna and Elsa on it, instant Frozen float.
And a little Olaf on there too, right?
Right. Yeah. And I haven't seen it in person, but I don't believe he's moving. I think he's
I don't think so either. I think he just still stands there. But yeah, so, I mean, it's weird because it didn't actually become part of the parade itself. It kind of rolls through first, and then the parade comes out.
Yeah, Olaf is frozen on the front. Yes. But yeah, it's a pre-parade kind of deal,
right?
So, which is odd.
And again, another testament to the insanity of Frozen. It doesn't matter how much work and effort I put into, I'll go to an event and I'll shoot hours of video and I'll edit it down and I'll put it up and it'll get, some attention. And then all you got to do is put up a 30-second video of this new Frozen float going by and it gets like 100,000 views in 10 seconds.
Right. I was just going to start mentioning, every window to the Magic episode, I'm going to say Frozen.
Right.
And that's just it. And then I'm going to put it in the show notes, and I'm going to put the part of the name is going to be Frozen, and that way people download it looking for something.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at my own podcast web stats, and I was talking to you about this also via email, and I think it was just the inclusion of the word Frozen that made everything just jump for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, Libsyn actually had something going on over there behind the scenes too.
Okay,
I don't know if you.
They had the extra. It was the Frozen stats boost.
It was the Frozen stats boost. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, that's it's a nice little addition. If you're gonna throw it in, you might as well throw it in where it kind of makes sense, and that's at the beginning of a parade.
Right.
Fine.
Well, and you could also take over an entire theme park with Frozen.
You could. Why you would, I have no idea. But if you're going to do it this weekend.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Would be last weekend.
Well, no, it's actually this weekend as far as anyone listening to this show. So as a result of releasing the Year in Review this first weekend in July, you are not hearing any coverage of the Frozen Summer Madness at Hollywood Studios that's going on. So you can look forward to that next week on Inside the Magic. We're recording this, a little ahead of time, so it's still coming up for us in reality. And it includes a Frozen stage show that sounds similar to what's playing in the Fantasy Fair Theater at California, which could be good. It's going to have a royal welcome with the characters, including Kristoff, which we haven't seen him as a character yet in person. It's going to include fireworks. It's going to include an indoor ice skating rink and snow things and more Frozen everywhere in the park.
Did you know that reindeer are better than people?
I did.
Oh, okay,
I heard that. I heard a song about that.
Yeah, it's just a short song, though.
Right.
Yeah. This, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's odd that they are taking over all of
for 2
Hollywood
months
studios.
Too. It's not like it's a one-time event. It's like, yes, we're taking over. I mean, it's playing into the thing that we've already sang twice, and I'm not going to do it again. Olaf, Summer. 2 months of Hollywood studios. Anybody going there is going to have to endure Let It Go at least 700 times a day.
Wow. That's just, I don't know. I'll have to listen to your coverage and we'll see, so like I have been doing it throughout this whole thing. This episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by shameless plugs about future episodes.
And Frozen.
Now we can put Frozen in the title for this.
This is the ear in Frozen.
And people will actually download and listen to it.
Right. And then they'll be like, wait, what is this? What is this garbage?
Absolutely. So speaking of summertime and new things coming out, they just announced that they're doing, I can't remember the name of it now. Do you remember the name of this new show concept thing?
The Frontierland thing?
Yeah. It's like the Legends of Frontierland or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I saw a basic description of it, and I had no idea what it was going to be. They said you can come out, you can design your own character, you can, play a part in the first chapter of this story, and it's going to involve merchandise and food and stuff like that. And that was all it said.
Right.
And then, and it said that you can tweet to pick your side, so you could be, Frontierland, or you could be the Rainbow Ridge side. And of course, I'm Rainbow Ridge. But I had no idea what it was, which a lot of people who don't know about this are now confused by what I've just said.
Including me.
Yeah. But what it apparently is there's going to be some interaction out in Frontierland prior to going in and seeing a show in the Golden Horseshoe. And whatever happens outside is going to affect the direction of the story inside.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to go out and actually, check this out. I know people are passing out again at this point, but I may actually have to go to Disneyland and do something.
Good. Well, so while I'm enduring Frozen at Hollywood Studios, you can go play around in Frontierland because it's all kind of happening at the same time.
Exactly.
And then on next week's Window to the Magic, everyone can hear that.
Next week's Window to the Magic. Maybe. Yeah, you never know. I might do that.
Unless it's terrible.
In which case I'll play Frozen and get more downloads.
Yes. The Frozen Frontierland.
Exactly. So we are only at about 2 hours at this point. So you want to talk about some other things?
Yeah, we can just start making stuff up.
Okay. Let's see.
I heard that Disney bought My Little Pony.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't even know you owned a little pony.
No, let's talk about something that let's venture outside of Disney a little bit, actually, because as much as we both love Disney and all of the things going on in the parks, there have been some pretty incredible things happening at competing theme parks.
Okay. All right. Universal, maybe?
Yes, I mean, out here in Orlando, there's been a lot of City Walk improvements, a lot of new restaurants that have opened and are still coming soon. A great Mexican restaurant called Antojitos, a great Italian restaurant that I could probably eat every single day for the rest of my life. That's called Vivo. A new version of the Beetlejuice show that is a new hotel, Cabana Bay, which is fantastic. Did you ever? You are older than I am. Did you?
Thanks.
Yeah. Did you ever stay in any of these sort of classic, either New Jersey or Florida hotels?
No. First time I went to Florida was in 1989, and I
Okay.
stayed on property at Disney.
Okay, so then neither of us have a direct connection to this theme at all, but I still really enjoyed it. The Cabana Bay has this great sort of surf feel to it, retro decades ago, and it's a fun hotel. I really enjoyed it, but most importantly, and I've talked about this extensively recently, Universal Studios Florida has opened, or is about, when is this coming out? Is about to open Diagon Alley, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter expansion.
Oh, it says Diagon Alley. I thought it was Dragon Alley because of that really cool dragon at the end.
Right. I mean, they're Disney can come out with a steampunk dragon wheeling through the streets that breathes fire, while Universal comes out with a static but incredibly lifelike dragon that also breathes fire.
Yeah, it doesn't. It is completely static. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it sits up there, but it's still really awesome looking.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen some really neat pictures come out of that have been taken from underneath it, shooting up with using just the light from the fire,
right,
and stuff. Really cool stuff. And wow, does Diagon Alley look neat?
It is, and I don't want to go too far into it because I've done that recently on the show and I've written about it extensively, and I could talk for hours and hours about it. But in summary, it is the most detailed, immersive theme park anything that I've ever seen.
How about in wintry or folly?
Not so much.
Oh, okay. You said in summary.
I
It
know.
was good. Okay.
I know. I got it.
All right. Not funny if you have to explain it, I
Right.
guess.
No, I got it. Diagon Alley is amazing. I don't think you have to be a Harry Potter fan to appreciate the amount of theming that has been put into this. It feels like a real place, but in another universe. It doesn't feel like a real, it's like you walk through Hollywood Studios or California Adventure, or even the regular streets of Universal, and here's New York, here's San Francisco, whatever. This is leaps and bounds beyond that, but taking you to a place that does not really exist, except now it does.
And speaking of taking you to a place, the one thing that I found that was very, very cool was when you rode the train.
Yeah, that's another really unique element. I mean, Disney obviously has had monorails, and various parks have transportation that takes you to and from places. But this has got to be the first time that any park has ever had one theme in two parks and have a themed method of transportation that actually takes you between them and is an attraction unto itself.
The one part about that train that I found to be coolest was when you had to turn around to see the shadows of the people walking by.
That was a big surprise to me and to everybody because they'd been talking about all the landscapes and the characters and the visuals that you're looking out sort of the virtual window, but nobody ever made a mention of inside the train. You're seeing, and it felt really real that these characters were really outside the cabin that you're in.
Yeah, it looked neat. The minute you turn around, I went, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, it's really, and then it's perfectly proportioned. It truly feels and sounds. There's a nice reverb to their voices, and it's spot on. That makes you feel like these characters from the Harry Potter movies are right outside your cabin.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to go. And like I said, I'm going to try and get out there next year if I can. But whenever it is, this is one of the things that I can do in the Harry Potter lands is this train.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's accessible to all, and once when it opens, I'm sure it will have 16-hour wait times for it, but eventually that'll die down.
But it'll have Fast Pass Plus, and that's fine. Oh wait,
yeah, not so much.
Yeah. Now, one question I did have: the new, is it Gringotts or Gringotts?
Yes. Depends on if you're British or not.
I'm not. I know with the accent you might get it confused, but is that kind of the same ride vehicle as Transformers and Spider-Man?
No, not at all. It looks like it could be, and there's a lot of similarities in concept in that you're looking at a lot of 3D screens, but it is an entirely new ride system that's never been used anywhere.
Really?
And it does things you would not expect it to do.
Motion sickness problems?
Potentially.
Oh, okay, great.
It is. Have you been on the Mummy ride either out there or here?
Yes.
And it kind of does roller coastery things, and then it stops, and you see dark ride sort of things, and then there's more roller coastery type movements. Mm-hmm. This does that combined with the Transformers, combined with other movements that nothing else has really done.
The only thing I had a problem with in the Mummy ride was when it started to go backwards.
This might go backwards a little bit.
Might? Okay. All right.
Just a little. Just a little.
All right. It's worth a try.
It definitely, it is supposed to be more, and it is more family friendly than the other Harry Potter ride, Forbidden Journey.
I saw Forbidden Journey with the lights on. I saw somebody who pulled out their phone.
That
and
makes it look extra scary.
They rode through that pretty much the whole ride, I guess, because it was forever.
Yeah.
Just following behind one of the other arms.
Right.
And that was neat.
Yeah.
It was going through there.
That technology is pretty awesome. I look forward to going through the Gringotts ride many times, and after I've gotten over sort of the amazingness of the ride, I can start to look around and really get the sense of, what's really happening.
Wow. Okay. Sounds fun.
Yeah, it is pretty incredible, but there's a lot going on at Universal Hollywood as well. Despicable Me replaced Terminator 2.
Oh, the secondary theme park over there at Universal, yeah. It's Universal Hollywood. That's they built that after Diagon Alley, didn't they?
What, Universal Hollywood?
Yeah, they're trying to capitalize on the success of the Harry Potter park.
Yeah, there's no history to that park at all.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So little yellow guys running around. Is it fun?
Well, I mean, it opened 2 years after the version out here. It's pretty much the same thing, although they added a massive, super silly Funland play area.
Yeah.
That gets you completely drenched should you walk in the wrong place.
Awesome.
It's like water park drenched, like you just jumped in a swimming pool drenched, because that's what you want when you're walking around a theme park.
Yes. Wet shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter is on its way out there, certainly. A couple of years away, but they're working on it.
Right. They've taken down a ton of stuff out here to build that expansion.
That and Simpsons area expanding. Doc Brown's chicken is no more, which never really made any sense in the first place.
It was good chicken. And that was all that mattered.
But now you'll have Simpsons Springfield with different fried chicken.
Yes, it'll be Moe's chicken or something. Cletus's chicken. All right.
And then we mentioned the Backlot tour, comparing it to Hollywood Studios. The Fast and the Furious new thing will be coming to the Backlot tour.
Yeah, but they had a Fast and Furious thing,
which
in
was
the back
really
there.
lame.
Really lame, and Calvin almost refuses to go to Universal specifically because of that 2-second ride.
It was those things that you buy in the park where you push the button and the character spins around and lights up at the end.
Yeah.
That was pretty much that Fast and Furious thing.
Right, yeah.
Cars on sticks.
So now they're building a real honest to God attraction, kind of a la King Kong / that kind of thing. I mean, it's going to be a big deal.
Yep, and they make you feel like you're driving at 100 miles an hour through the streets and all kinds of fun stuff.
It's, they're going to say, and now the super speed tunnel.
And I have never actually seen a Fast and Furious movie.
Really? I have.
Well,
Go figure.
Yeah, so then you can talk all about that.
1 and
eventually.
6. I missed, I don't think I saw 2.
I'm guessing you didn't miss a lot in between.
No, and I didn't see 3, 4, or 5. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, going later on in the year here, we're going to have something Calvin and I have never done, but you do all the time, and it's mostly because of you, that we are going to go to Universal and go to Halloween Horror Nights for the very first time ever.
And The Walking Dead is back for the 3rd year in a row.
Is that good? Okay, all right. It's good for us because we didn't get to see it before.
And that's exact. I mean, it is good in that it drives huge ticket sales, which gives them more money, which lets them build bigger and cooler things. And the only sort of ness I have about it is as a direct result of how they used it last year, which was just in extreme excess.
Okay.
This year, it's going to be different, and it sounds like it'll be more appropriately used and better. So,
all right. Yeah, we're going to do the VIP tour,
which is the way to go for sure.
Yes, and we're going to. I'll be recording for Window to the Magic the whole time, and then when we do the Earn review, I'll talk about it as well.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We mentioned Knott's earlier. Now, you have not yet been on the newly updated Mine Train?
Well, we mentioned that we're recording this a week early. I'm actually, once we leave here, the tradition has always been, after you and I are done recording the Earn review, we say, goodnight to the podcast, and then you and I go, okay, seemed to go okay. Yes? Okay, great. And then we both run to the bathroom. And then after that, it's been a tradition that we go to Chili's. And this year, we're going to break with that tradition. We're going to go out to Knott's Berry Farm.
That's probably a better idea.
Yes. We're going to have Mrs. Knott's chicken dinner. And then we're going to buy annual passes so that we can get in and ride the new Calico Mine Train, which has just recently been updated. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, I've seen the video. I had somebody out there to cover its reopening, and Garner Holt seems to have done a fantastic job just flooding the thing with new animatronics.
And the best part about what they're doing at Knott's is they're telling Garner, redo these things, but don't really update them.
Right.
And so they look like the old characters still, but they've got better motion and sometimes not necessarily better motion. And it keeps that classic feel about things. When I went through the log ride,
yes,
I was like, this is exactly how I remember it.
But it's the better version of how you remember it.
Right.
And I agree. I did go through the updated log ride, which I loved. My only complaint is how fast you fly through those scenes.
Oh, you always have gone that fast.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, but with all these new animatronics, you're like, wait, I want to see that, and you're whoosh, right by them.
Yeah, we come around one of the corners, and there's that one water thing that's dripping down into the flume that you're in.
Right.
And we come around the corner, and Calvin's in front, and he goes, "Yikes!" And we get right up to it, and it just turns off the instant before he gets there, and I can hear him off in the front because I'm sitting way in the back.
Yeah,
and he goes, "That was uncool."
Yeah, no, those rides are really fun. A lot of history there, obviously, but with new music, newly updated visuals, sort of enhanced lighting and this and that. But keeping the classic feel, like you said, and even some tributes to the ride's creator who recently passed away. It's good that they've done a really nice job, and I understand there's a lot of fun plans for that park ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and for the first time ever, we are getting annual passes for Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like I said earlier, it's partially because of the Billy Hill and the Hillbillies thing, because I want to go in and see them. But this particular trip is driven specifically by this mine train. So,
excellent.
Yeah, that's good for Knott's that we're actually making a specific trip to see this.
Well, to talk about one more non-Disney thing here, SeaWorld, certainly a hot topic in the recent months due to controversy surrounding that whole blackfish thing.
Weird, hadn't heard about it. Anyway.
That aside, they do have a really great water park out here in Orlando where they debuted a cool, fun new slide called Ehu's Breakaway Falls that I quite enjoyed. I will still say that Aquatica is my favorite water park, even more than Disney's out here. I just like it. It's fun.
Aquatica?
Aquatica is the name of the park. They opened another one in Texas recently as well.
Interesting.
It's got, Disney's are really heavily themed, which is great. That's what Disney does. Aquatica is just like, this is a beach. Enjoy.
Oh.
Which is great. There's sand. There's places you can just lie down. There's a great lazy river that actually moves quite rapidly, which is not exactly that lazy, but it works. It's rapids. They have a spillover one as well. But and with this new slide, it's just a fun, easygoing place to go. I like it.
All righty then.
So that's that. So that brings us to upcoming things in the world of Disney. There's quite a lot coming up, I think, that we'll be talking about extensively, not only in 6 months from now, but coming years ahead.
Coming soon on Inside the Magic and Window to the Magic, the following topics.
Alice in Wonderland's getting some improvements at Disneyland.
Well, let's use the word improvements lightly.
Okay, changes.
There you go. They're making changes to the Alice in Wonderland attraction. They're going to be rerouting the outside is my understanding, keeping it closer to the building. Although I don't know that I've seen that track come down yet.
Yeah, well, it seems like they just kind of made the ugliness that came as a result of the OSHA stuff. They kind of made it prettier.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm hoping that they're able to keep the classic look of that attraction.
Right. But Disney has also sort of confirmed that there are interesting things going on inside the ride as well.
Right. Yeah, is it going to be like the Red Queen is going to be using the technology from the Seven Dwarfs mine
That's
train?
what I'm hoping. I'm hoping, really amazing, still classic looking, but high tech animatronics for Alice. That would be awesome.
Yes, that would be very, very nice. And my understanding is they're actually thinking about doing this with a lot of the attractions.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That it kind of go little by little through Fantasyland, and kind of like what Knott's is doing, keeping the classic feel of the dark ride, but giving it an update.
Absolutely, and that would be fun.
And that's reopening very soon. And isn't it reopening like by the time this podcast goes out?
I don't know. If it is, I will be there.
I think I want to say it was like July 4th or 5th or something. So
okay. Well, I'll be there on the 4th and the 5th.
Okay, well, keep an eye out then.
Because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, well, that Frozen thing in Hollywood Studios here starts the day after July 5th, on Saturday of 4th of July weekend. Yeah, good time to start the most popular property in all of Disney.
Well,
with the most, crowded weekend of the year.
They don't care. That's just more money.
That is absolutely true. So shortly thereafter, we mentioned anniversary. The 59th anniversary of Disneyland is coming up, and they've already said that they will be announcing all of the big plans for the 60th then.
Yes, and I actually spoke with my media contact, and I'm trying to get into that to see if I can record what it is that they're going to say. And I've heard some rumblings.
I have too.
I'm not going to mention any of them, but if these come true, yay!
Right, exciting stuff, definitely.
Like big time, yay!
Right.
So and this is on the actual 59th anniversary, so July 17th.
Correct.
Yeah, and so we will hold our breath and
Well,
see what comes our way.
And then we have to wait a year.
No.
Or not?
I don't think so. I think that it's going to be for the 60th anniversary, so I think it's going to be that year.
So like beginning the year of the 60th anniversary.
Right. Oh. Like they usually do like the 18 months kind of deal.
Okay, sure.
So like January to like May.
Nice. Well, if that's true, I guess I'll be back in January.
Yeah. So it's January of 2015 to May of 2016.
Right. Nice. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
we'll find out very soon.
Right. And, you want to come back and go to Disneyland sometime soon, don't you?
I do. I hear there's some pretty cool happenings near the beginning of August.
Yes, my birthday.
Well, that's a reason to fly to California unto itself.
Yeah, see, there we go. Oh, you're talking about the Friends of the Magic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that little thing.
Okay. Do you think anybody buys the fact that I didn't? Anyway. Yeah, the Friends of the Magic gathering is our yearly gathering of Disney podcasts and podcasters. And we get together at the Disneyland Resort, and we basically just kind of go through the day, going on different rides and seeing shows and enjoying the attractions and entertainment as a group. And it's a bunch of podcasters and the listeners, and each podcast holds an event. And you get to meet them, you get to get some cool swag, and you get to just kind of hang out and have fun.
Now, I have been to Mouse Fest years ago out here at Walt Disney World, and that was fun, and then it fizzled out. And for some reason, I've never been to Friends of the Magic.
Right. And I looked at you earlier this year, and I said, if you want to remain my friend.
If I want to be a friend of Window to the Magic.
There you go, yes. But you are actually going to be enjoying a day out at Friends of the Magic with us.
I am finally coming out. I'll be, what is that, August 8th?
Yeah, well, August 7th and 8th is, August 7th is my birthday, and we're having a big gathering at the Carthay Circle. I'm having a lunch and a dinner. And I'm going to be
wheel you out of there at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, I'm not planning on eating for the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But but so I think you'll be there for part of that.
Yeah, definitely. I can't pass up. I mean, you had me at Carthay Circle.
There you go. And then the following day, we're going to have you and Brian Summer, voiceover guy extraordinaire,
Who I have never met.
okay, and you'll get to meet him, holding events. I don't know if there's going to be any other events sandwiched in there anywhere, but the two of you will be on Friday because you guys have other things that you're doing on the weekend. And then for the rest of us, we're going to continue going for the rest of the weekend, doing different things. Saturday is Haunted Mansion's 45th anniversary.
Yeah, to the day. That's the official date for it.
Yes. And so we are planning, and I have my fingers crossed that we're going to have a very cool special guest joining us for dinner that night. And if so, that person may very well be included in that night's entertainment and that sort of thing. So I'll announce it as soon as I can, as soon as I get confirmation. But if you haven't gotten the idea, it's a wonderful, fun weekend at Disneyland, and Ricky's going to be there. So you should come out. Friendsofthemagic.com is where you go. It'll take you to our Facebook page, and that's where right now you will find almost no information about the event.
That's very handy.
Yes. However, coming up here soon, probably, since you're listening to this at the beginning of July, I would say probably by the time you listen to this, there will be some info up there. Yeah.
Okay, well that's awesome. And then another reason I am coming out that weekend is for the big Scare LA convention, the second year of that happening in downtown LA. Halloween will draw me just about anywhere, so that's what that's all about. And they're having their own Haunted Mansion 45th celebration as well, doing a special panel during the day. So whatever you've got planned that night, maybe I'll have to skip out on the nighttime entertainment there and come over.
Well, it could be fun. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see how all of that comes out. But that's some more excitement to look forward to. It's always a good time to come out to California, especially when there's some extra special happenings, and especially when Disneyland has basically said, yeah, we're not going to celebrate the 45th.
Correct.
But they're going to put a bunch of merchandise out, but that's about it.
Right. And if they're not going to do it, then I will.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we'll go from there. So lots of fun people are going to be out there. In addition to you and Brian Summer, we're going to have a ton of podcasters out there. Excellent. From all over the United States. So
sounds like fun. Right around that time, and I don't remember the release date. It might even be a little before that. Another movie that you're not going to see is coming out.
Correct. Yeah, it has a nice heavy rock theme in the trailer. I've seen the trailer. Guardians
of the Galaxy, definitely the most different looking Marvel movie so far.
That's Marvel?
It is. It's tying into the whole Marvel universe, and most people are like, who are these characters and what is going on?
Isn't there a fox or something?
Yes, a raccoon.
A raccoon.
Voiced by Bradley Cooper.
Well, yeah, of course. Who?
That guy.
Oh, that guy.
Right.
Okay, good.
So that I am actually looking forward to that. It's a different sort of Marvel movie. Should hopefully very good. A lot of humor to it, probably. Hopefully.
I could tell that, yeah.
With Chris Pratt playing the lead, there should be.
Right.
Yeah, so
the whole thing kind of looked like it was on the lighter side.
Definitely. But still very Marvel, very sci-fi, superhero-y. And then later in the year, November, is when Disney is coming out with Disney Feature Animation are coming out with their first Marvel animated movie, Big Hero 6.
Oh, I thought it was Toy Story that time forgot.
Yeah, I skipped.
Oh, I see. Okay. See, now I didn't see, again, I don't see a lot of movies, but I didn't see Big Hero 1 through 5.
No, nobody did.
So, yeah, well, see, and so why are they picking up on a property that nobody has seen the first 5 films?
They are kind of going along with Guardians of the Galaxy. This is another really obscure Marvel property that they've just kind of plucked out of nowhere and decided to become a huge movie. And it also looks pretty cool. It's got this weird mashup of San Francisco and Tokyo called San Fransokyo, in which it's set.
Wow, it sounds like I made that up.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But the characters seem fun, and I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Wow.
A lot of Marvel. When Disney bought Marvel, everyone was wondering what the heck is going to happen. Well, this is it. They're going to crank out lots of movies and really sort of pull every aspect of it. An interesting footnote to Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, Marvel characters are in the parks at Disneyland because they're able to do that. But out here in Orlando, Universal has the rights to the Marvel characters because of prior licensing agreements. But Guardians of the Galaxy, there's going to be a extended preview of that film inside Hollywood Studios very soon. In fact, it starts this weekend, I believe, for when we're airing this. So
right.
I think it's Disney's way of towing the line and seeing how much they can get away with putting Marvel in the parks.
Interesting.
Little by little. They did the Avenger rail, the monorail wrapped with Avengers characters, and that was fine. Universal didn't, sue them or anything. So they're like, okay, well, what if we play some movie clips in the park? And, if they don't hear anything then, they'll be like, well, what if we use these characters that Universal isn't using? So we'll see where that goes.
All right. Best of luck to them.
Yeah, I'm sure, there'll be a lawsuit at some point, and then they'll be like, okay, we went too far.
Yeah. Or Universal will go, that's fine.
We could be, or just pay us and, buy us out of our licensing agreement, and we'll build Harry Potter Part 3.
Yeah, there you go, yes. Harry Potter, the land, the world, the park.
The hotel.
The steak. Yeah.
I could go for some steak.
Harry Potter, the steak. All right.
Okay. Yes, you mentioned Toy Story That Time Forgot. This is a new holiday special coming out this year. Did you like Toy Story of Terror? Did you see Toy Story of Terror?
I did.
Okay.
And I did.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was very fun.
And that's coming out on Blu-ray very soon. But then for in time for Christmas, another Toy Story sort of a TV special, which is great. It's not Toy Story 4. I think everyone was pretty happy where Toy Story 3 left off. So now they've sort of spun off into these TV specials instead.
All right, fair enough. If they remain cute, funny, and enjoyable as the Toy Story of Terror, then I'm okay with it.
I agree. Now, we haven't mentioned Frozen in at least 10 minutes or so.
I know. I want more Frozen. Let's do at least 2 more topics.
Okay, sure. Frozen on Ice. How's that for redundant?
Just about to say, that's redundant.
The Disney on Ice version of Frozen will debut in September, starting naturally out here in Orlando.
Okay. So we've got movies, we've got shows, we've got they're taking over the theme parks. We have ice shows. There's one aspect of Disney cohesive marketing that they haven't touched yet.
Well, considering the movie starred a bunch of stage actors.
Broadway.
Yep. It's coming.
Really?
We don't know when. We don't know who or what, although it's weird. I keep seeing like Josh Gad, who obviously has been on Broadway, Book of Mormon and all of that. He said for a while, he was like, yes, I would love to be Olaf on Broadway. And then recently he was like, no, I'm not going to be Olaf on Broadway. I don't know where it seems to be going in circles, but...
Well, he had, he watched the Wizard of Oz documentary, and he thought that they were going to paint him white every night with lead-based paint.
Right.
And he thought, I'm a big Buddy Ebsen fan. I'm not doing it.
No, I of course everyone's like, oh, they should get him and get Idina Menzel up there and get Kristen Stewart or not Kristen Stewart. That's definitely not the right person. Kristen Bell.
There you go.
Yeah, and I don't think that would work out so well. I mean, Adele Dazeem is not exactly Elsa.
Well, it would work out really nicely because that would be awesome to see. However, you're right. They're not the characters.
She is not a teenage girl.
Right. And so what they need to find is these powerhouse voices that look like the characters.
Right. And I'm sure they will. And I'm sure it will be a monumental success. And then that will lead into, Frozen 2 and 6 and 12 and yeah.
Yep. Boy, Frozen, the Harry Potter years. It's just...
I think that is actually the last time we're going to mention Frozen on this week's show.
No, it won't be.
No, probably not. But we've been talking a lot about anniversaries and the history of Disney, and this year there is no D23 Expo.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's next year. But there is going to be another Destination D in which they'll be looking back as D23 loves to do. Hey, fans, remember all that cool stuff that you used to love but isn't around anymore? We're going to celebrate that.
I don't see how they continue to get away with this.
Yeah.
Because they're literally going, see how cool we used to be?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
they're talking the adventure through inner space cool.
That is what they'll be talking about this time. Probably, original Journey into Imagination type stuff. They are definitely going to be talking Pleasure Island
Yeah.
with a concluding event over this. It's going to be in November at Walt Disney World, a 2-day event that will wrap up with basically a revival for one night only of Pleasure Island, including the Adventurers Club.
Frozen.
Yes, the Frozen Adventurers Club.
Yeah, this actually, Jeremiah has a ticket to go see this.
Yeah, this should be, but it's so, they haven't even replaced Pleasure Island with anything yet. It's just sitting there.
Right.
And they're already paying tribute to something that's just sitting there. Not.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah.
They know that people are nostalgic for the Adventurers Club. People love the Adventurers Club. I mean, heck, you love the Adventurers Club.
I feel like it's going to get to the point in another few years where they're going to say, here's a big favorite attraction. We're closing it because we're bringing in something new. And the very next day, D23 is going to come in and say, we're going to reopen it just for fans, but you're going to have to pay $300 extra.
I will pay that.
Yeah, I don't know where all that's going, but the event sounds fun regardless.
Absolutely. And, I mean, if I was out there, I would be going to this.
And then another example of something that's coming up that they've taken a successful thing and now turned it into a money-making thing. Last year for Limited Time Magic on Friday the 13th, they had a Unleash the Villains event at Hollywood Studios that filled the park to capacity and had people waiting hours and hours and hours in line to meet rare villains characters. And now they're doing it again, except this time it's not Unleash the Villains, it's Villains Unleashed.
See, totally different. You should come out and check it out. And people will.
And you have to pay like $75 to do it.
And it's going to sell out.
I already bought my ticket.
Yeah, you better have.
Because this time they're adding Oogie Boogie's variety show.
Sure.
Whatever that means, I want to see it.
Right.
I mean, as long as it can't be more of a mess than that Friday the 13th was, they've got to be able to improve on that. And we've been hearing about the possibility of a villains event or a villains theme park or a villains whatever for years, and it seems like finally they're inching their way towards this idea.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure his show will star all the villains from the past. The great villains that obviously Maleficent, since it's topical, and the evil queen and Hades and Anna and Elsa.
It will probably make no sense whatsoever, but they'll be on stage and it'll be fun.
Absolutely, and that's if you play music loud enough and put the villains up there, people love it.
Indeed. Now here is something that I have never done, and I'm guessing you have not either. And that is anything to do with Run Disney.
Yeah. Well, see, when they talk about half marathons, I do run the other way.
Yeah. And by run, you mean go back to sleep.
Usually, yeah. Well, I mean, if they didn't do these marathons at like 5 a.m,
right,
I still wouldn't do them.
No, yeah, it's not something that the only reason these marathons interest me is for the possibility of seeing Darkwing Duck and Launchpad, which they seem to bring out only for the marathons.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, now they are coming up, I think both at Disneyland, they're doing a Marvel Avengers marathon and then a Star Wars one as well.
Exactly. Yeah, there's going to be more marathons going on out here than we have ever had before.
You'll have as many marathons as we have restaurants.
Yes. Come out to Disneyland. It's a series of marathons with ride shows and theme parks interspersed in between.
And then everyone's going to walk around wearing their medals all weekend and pretending like they accomplished something. I'm going to get hate mail for that comment.
What is that weird clinking noise?
I don't get the marathons. I don't get the races. I've said it a million times. I know people have many reasons, personal reasons for doing them. I personally don't get it.
Yeah. A couple of years back, I was starting to do some heavy walking, and I was going to try to get it so that I could go and do the half marathon at Walt Disney World. And it was just as a personal goal of mine to try and get myself to the point where I could actually pull something like that off.
Right.
And that might be what it is it might just be the fun of doing it, going through the Disney parks.
Sure.
And, interesting access early morning.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could see that to some extent, but for me, I mean, like, I just feel like if I want to walk through the parks, I'm just going to go walk through the parks.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like the 24-hour thing. I've only been in the park at 3 a.m. twice in my life.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. Not for me. Everyone else can enjoy it.
Well, that's.
But there will be more room to walk around at the Magic Kingdom in the coming months.
Yes, because they're going to inflate the park.
Something like that. It's kind of crazy construction zone around the Cinderella Castle and the surrounding area because they're taking the hub and making like a double hub out of it.
Yes, this episode of Window to the Magic is brought to you by expanded Magic Kingdom hubs.
Or just one.
Or just one. Yeah, they're basically putting a second spoke kind of around
like
the outside.
An extra ring around it. Like they're making it, giving it bigger rims or something.
Right. And yeah, that's right. They're going to have, 26s or 28s?
Right.
Yeah.
Give it hydraulics. Everything will, yeah.
The castle.
And then the dwarves can come out and rap hi-ho.
There you go. Hey, tying it all the way back to the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, this is interesting. There were a lot of people that were complaining that they were taking out the waterways,
right,
and that all that other stuff. I looked at the plans. It looks fine.
It looks great. I think it's going to be and a huge reason for doing this is because they're going to be adding specific areas for FastPass Plus for parade and fireworks viewing instead of taking over existing areas. So rather than getting in the way of everybody, they're actually adding more room, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's always good. They did that for Fantasmic here in New Orleans Square.
Yeah,
back when it first opened, they shut the entire area down for a while, and they filled in some of the waterway, and they made it very nice.
Yeah,
and you can't tell now.
Right. Well, that's ultimately you're going to walk into the Magic Kingdom and be like, it's a little more spacious than I remember, but that's about it.
Yeah,
a few extra trees, a few extra planters, and a lot more room to walk around.
Right. Which is fine because that place can get packed.
Yeah, definitely. And if they would maybe throw a bench or two in there, that would be nice.
No, because if you're sitting down, you are not buying merchandise.
Indeed, unless you're on a ride. And over in Tokyo, an interesting improvement to a ride is going to be happening soon.
And that is?
The Jungle Cruise Wildlife Expeditions. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
They're giving the Jungle Cruise a sort of a 2.0 treatment, like making it a whole new attraction.
A whole new attraction.
I think that happens every time we record one of these.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't remember the details offhand, but there's going to be a daytime version and a nighttime version, and this whole new story and lots of special effects and a new soundtrack, and they're like really giving it a massive overhaul.
And then at the end, you're going to see like a baby elephant, and its mom is going to be attacked by poachers.
Yes, and then it will link up to Walt Disney World in a really long boat ride.
Jumbo, everyone.
Speaking of Animal Kingdom, actually, also coming up, Rivers of Light, also known as World of Color, Animal Kingdom Edition.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. It's World of Color. That, they know what they're doing with World of Color. So if they just build something purpose-built, hopefully they don't blow it like they did with Fantasmic, because they purpose-built the Fantasmic Arena out there at Hollywood Studios, and it lacks all the character of Disneyland.
It does. I never see Fantasmic out here, but I'm really looking forward to Rivers of Light. Seems like I mean, just bringing I think people have been asking for a nighttime show, a water show of some sort at Animal Kingdom since the park opened. So it's nice to finally have that realized sometime in the next couple years.
I could just hear if you're on the back half of the park, you can hear all the animals going, "Get off my lawn!"
Pretty much.
Trying to sleep over here.
Yeah. Well, and then, maybe they'll make a CNN documentary about that too.
Maybe. You never know.
And here, out of all of the upcoming things for Walt Disney World that we've mentioned, Avatar and this show and that show, the thing I'm looking forward to most is we're getting a Trader Sam's.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be there like all the time.
Yeah, what you should do is you should try and go every Friday from 5 to 7 p.m.
Ah, that's a novel idea.
Tell all your listeners that
See,
if they come out, they can meet you.
Right. I kind of just assumed Jeremiah would be doing that.
Yeah, didn't you? And you could get selfies of you and all of the ladies who come out to visit you, and you could put them up on your Facebook page.
But only the ladies.
Only the ladies.
Okay.
I'm an equal opportunity sexist. But yeah, Trader Sam's. Wow, I really, I was talking about wanting to go out there next year. This is looking to open next year. Yes.
They have not actually set a date.
But that's the thought, right?
It seems like it, yeah.
Okay. Because that was what I wanted to do. Was I wanted to come out. I wanted to be there at the opening of this.
Well,
because it's going to be amazing.
Well, it's also going to be packed, I'm sure.
Well, have you been to Trader Sam's?
Yeah,
over
but
here?
this is Walt Disney World with tourist mania and billions more people. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. It's going to be interesting because out there, you've got it's at Disneyland Hotel. It's tucked away a little bit. You have to, do downtown Disney parking or, whatever it is. Here, you have to, I don't know how the parking is going to work because you're supposed to go to the Polynesian with, a reason to be there. And I guess if you say you're going to Trader Sam's, that'll be a reason. But they don't have a huge parking lot for like hotel guests and whoever's going to be going to Trader Sam's. I don't know.
They build a multi-story parking garage?
Yeah, I guess. And they're also adding the vacation club bungalows there, which is going to need even more. I mean, Trader Sam's, I guess, doesn't hold that many people, so...
Well, ours is only 47 people. I
From
hope
that
they've learned.
I don't know. I've heard it's going to be pretty much the same size.
That would be bad.
I could see it being a little bigger, but I wouldn't want them to go too big because then it loses the quaintness of it.
No, you could go probably 4 or 5 times the size.
Well,
you'd still be fine.
Where it's going in the hotel, there isn't room for 4 or 5 times the size. It's maybe a little bit bigger, but yeah.
Well, okay.
And it's going to have the some new features. It is a different version of Trader Sam's. It's called Trader Sam's Grog Grotto, which is a fun name. And it's going to have the Oa character that was formerly in the under new management version of the Tiki Room.
Which is severely lacking from our version, and every time everyone is chanting "oa, oa, oa," it doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
But it will at your place.
Yes, you'll order the massive drink, and there will be an animatronic or puppet or something. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it'll be cool.
Yes, it will. And if you have a fast pass for your martini, then you'll be able to get a drink.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come to, I have a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to it. So we've mentioned Marvel and Star Wars a number of times, and there's more ahead of both of those. Obviously, we've talked about movies. We've talked about TV. There's even more Marvel TV on the way. Agent Carter is another show that's coming out of the Marvel universe, and you probably don't even know who Agent Carter is.
Not a clue.
She was an excellent character in the Captain America universe, so she's getting her own show.
Yeah. Speaking of excellent female characters, we haven't mentioned Anna or Elsa in the last couple of minutes.
They are not getting their own show, though they will be on Once Upon a Time.
See? There you go.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that either.
We did not, and now we did.
That we did. That's enough.
And then, of course, Star Wars and more Star Wars. There's episode 7, 8, and 9, and a whole bunch of spin-off movies.
Right, and a theme park edition over at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, of some sort. Who knows? Lots and lots of Star Wars.
Absolutely. And which is fine, as long as they do it right.
Yes. Yeah, and this is what coming out of Diagon Alley, my perception of what is capable in a theme park has been changed permanently. It is truly unlike anything I've ever seen in a theme park, and now that is officially the bar that Disney is going to have to meet or exceed with Star Wars. Anything less than the absolute believability of that, and I will be disappointed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is listen up, Disney, because they have really set the bar high.
I do not want to see a Dumbo-style ride with X-Wings on the end.
Right.
I want to be there. I want to walk into the Millennium Falcon and sit down and, play the little holographic game and be in the environment. I don't want you to sell me a shirt with a cartoon Han Solo on it. You know, I want to go to the cantina and drink and eat and cut off somebody's arm with a lightsaber and all of that.
I can see the T-shirts now. Ricky shot first.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully that is the direction all of that is going in. We shall see. I'm sure Disney has big plans for it, and they're just going to take their time and make sure they do it right.
They absolutely have to, because there's just so much money that's been thrown into this. And the one thing that I actually had a question about, because I was watching you walk around and rave about Diagon Alley and all of this other stuff, and everybody's been raving for years about the Harry Potter thing and whatever. But when you walk through it and there's media, so it's probably crowded, but it's not packed.
Right.
How are they going to handle the crowds?
At first, Diagon Alley very soon is going to be a complete mess, much as the first one was 4 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, it was almost unbearably crowded.
Okay.
There were lines. There's a ticketing system, like a fast pass sort of thing, to get into the area. Then once you're in the area, you have to wait in line to get into a store. And then once you're in the store, you have to wait in line to buy something. And by the time you've done all that, half your day is gone.
Wow.
It's really, I mean, it's going to be brutal for quite a while. But the original, 4 years later now, completely perfectly fine. Even on the most crowded day, I mean, it's still, theme park crowded, but it's not terribly overwhelmingly like it was for a while. So I'm sure in time it will fade.
Okay. All right. I'll trust you on this one because you've been there. So.
And it also helps that Diagon Alley is a lot more room than the original one. There's a lot more street room, a lot more stores, just number of stores. There's the queue for the Gringotts ride is tremendously entertaining and really, really long, full of entertainment along the way. So all of that helps.
And I get no scale from any of the photos that have been shown.
No, you don't. And that's what's incredible. I mean, you walk through there and you have to look. I mean, if you're standing in the middle of Diagon Alley, you have to look directly up to see the tops of these buildings.
Wow.
They're huge. Everything's huge in there, and it's great. So that is truly the future of theme park entertainment there. I mean, obviously there's room for small things, medium things, big things, but when it comes to the big e-ticket level things, Universal has cranked out the new standard for it.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow coming to a theme park near you. We're excited about Knott's. We're excited about Disney, kind of, and we're excited about Universal.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
It is. It's a great time to be a theme park fan. It's a great time to sort of expand your view of things and not just focus on Disney, especially in a little bit of a lull here. I'm sure there's a lot of plans that are going to be exciting and announced very soon. But in the meantime, go have fun wherever. It's worth branching out. And, if it's entertainment, it's entertainment. It doesn't have to be, under the Disney brand.
Send your emails to Ricky at InsideTheMagic.net.
I've seen more and more and more hardcore Disney-only fans make the jump in recent years, and I think it's just going to continue, and it's a good thing for Disney, too. I mean, we don't want it to be a stale environment. We want everybody to produce really amazing entertainment.
Right. And if Disney will step up, we know that they have the chutzpah to be able to get it done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like I've lost faith in Disney or anything. I'm ready for it. I'm waiting and eager and excited about what their is to come there.
Yep. Just, okay, the funding, green light the ideas, and I know they're there.
Yep.
So,
and it'll be Frozen.
Looking forward to it.
Frozen theme park coming soon.
See, I told you we'd mention it at least once.
I figured, we just hit or almost hitting 3 hours, so here we are.
Yep, we got a minute and 8 seconds to get out of here.
Uh-oh, better wrap this up. All right, plug away.
You can find me at windowtothemagic.com. Windowtothemagic.com on Twitter is at WTTM, and you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/windowtothemagic for binaural adventures in Disneyland and Walt Disney World each and every week.
And you'll find everything that I do over at InsideTheMagic.net, though I have finally, after 9+ years, acquired InsideTheMagic.com.
Yay!
Yes, so that does work as well. But .net's still what I'm going to go with because I have for so long. So there's that. It's for, certainly Disney coverage of all the parks, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, a little bit overseas as well, plus Universal, Orlando and Hollywood, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and even expanding past those to other, anything that's themed and fun. There's the Outside the Magic side of things at OutsideTheMagic.com for everything that's a little bit outside the spectrum of family friendly, but still a lot of fun for those of you who don't don't mind venturing into potentially offensive things, and offensive to some, that is. And then, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for Inside the Magic as well. Just add /Inside the Magic to those services to follow along, as I post way too much.
As you can tell, folks, Ricky Briganti is a force of nature.
I get people writing to me all the time saying, will you stop flooding my Facebook feed? You're posting too much. I'm like, well,
absolutely.
I see that as a good thing.
Absolutely. I enjoy everything you do, and I look forward to another 6 months of it before we do another one of these, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at Disneyland in just a couple of weeks for my birthday and the Friends of the Magic Gathering.
I will be there, and stay tuned for whatever announcement make about the meetup that will be coming. So should be a lot of fun. That's
right. Okay. Well, then, let's go ahead and bring in our respective outros, and we will talk to you guys soon.
It's been fun.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
And 3 hours later, here we are at the end of show 483, a half year in review. This went over really well last year. Everybody seemed to enjoy looking at half the year instead of the whole year at once and having it be, a mega 6-hour podcast. So you can look forward to another one of these at the end of this year. And as you just heard, Paul and I talked all about many, many, many things to look forward to over the next 6 months. So can't wait to experience all of that and then come back to you at the end of 2014 to discuss it all with Paul once more. Of course, there's a lot of exciting things happening between now and then, including I will be, as I mentioned, out to California in early August for that Friends of the Magic meetup, so stay tuned for more information about that. If you're local to California, how you can come out and say hi to me, say hi to Paul, and all the other podcasters that will be there for that special weekend. Should be a whole lot of fun. I do want to once again thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And also to Scooter Vacations. If you need a little extra help getting around at the parks at Walt Disney World, Scooter Vacations is who you're going to want to contact for the best options in enhanced mobility. You can call them at WDW Scoot. That's 855 WDW Scoot, or find them online at scootorlando.com. So thanks to all of you who made it all the way through this year's first half year in review. Next week I'll be back with a lot of Frozen fun from Disney's Hollywood Studios and whatever else happens in the meantime. It's summertime. You never know what's going to pop up. So thanks for listening each and every week. Have a magical week. Goodbye.